All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Madam Foreperson, I understand you have reached a verdict as to each defendant.
We have, Your Honor.
Please hand your verdict forms to the sheriff. I'm going to go ahead and address each one of these verdict forms separately. The first verdict form I have is the State of Georgia versus Travis McMichael. Mr. McMichael, please stand. Verdict is as follows. In the Superior Court of Glenn County, State of Georgia, the State of Georgia versus Travis McMichael, case number CR 000433. Jury verdict form. Count 1, malice murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. I'm going to ask that whoever just made an outburst be removed from the court, please. As this court has indicated, I ask that there be no outbursts in the court, and I expect as much from the gallery. Please respect the court's desire for this as we move forward. If you feel like you need to make a comment or otherwise demonstrate with respect to the verdict, I do ask that you step out of the courtroom now. Count 2, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Count 3, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Count 4, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Count 5, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Count 6, aggravated assault. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Count 7, aggravated assault. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Count 8, false imprisonment. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Count 9, criminal attempt to commit a felony. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Dated this 24th day of November, 2021, signed by the foreperson. Have a seat. As to Gregory McMichael, in the Superior Court of Glenn County, the State of Georgia versus Greg McMichael, case number CR 200433. Jury verdict form. Count 1, malice murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, not guilty. Count 2, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. Count 3, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. Count 4, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. Count 5, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. Count 6, aggravated assault. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. Count 7, aggravated assault. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. Count 8, false imprisonment. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. Count 9, criminal attempt to commit a felony. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. This 24th day of November, 2021, signed by the foreperson. As to William R. Bryan. In the Superior Court of Glenn County, State of Georgia versus William R. Bryan, case number CR 2000433, jury verdict form. Count 1, malice murder. We, the jury, find the defendant William R. Bryan not guilty. Count 2, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant William R. Bryan not guilty. Count 3, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant William R. Bryan guilty. Count 4, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant William R. Bryan guilty. Count 5, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant William R. Bryan guilty. Count 6, aggravated assault. We, the jury, find the defendant William R. Bryan not guilty. Count 7, aggravated assault. We, the jury, find the defendant William R. Bryan guilty. Count 8, false imprisonment. We, the jury, find the defendant William R. Bryan guilty. Count 9, criminal attempt to commit a felony. We, the jury, find the defendant William R. Bryan guilty. Signed this 24th day of November by the foreperson. Go ahead and see. Court having read the verdicts and accepted the verdicts, anything from the state?
No, Your Honor, nothing from the state.
Anything from the defense?
We ask the jury to be polled, Your Honor.
All defendants ask the jury be polled? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask each of you individually a set of 2 questions with respect to the verdicts that I have just read. If you could please respond when you hear your juror number. Juror number 1, you have heard the verdicts read. Were these your verdicts then, and are these your verdicts now?
Yes, sir.
Juror number 2, you have heard the verdicts read. Were these your verdicts then, and are these your verdicts now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 2. Juror number 3, you have heard the verdicts read. Were these your verdicts then, and are these your verdicts now?
Yes.
Juror number 4, you have heard the verdicts read. Were these your verdicts then, and are these your verdicts now?
Yes, sir.
Juror number 5, you have heard the verdicts read. Were these your verdicts then, and are these your verdicts now?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 7, you have heard the verdicts read. Were these your verdicts then, and are these your verdicts now?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 8, you have heard the verdicts read. Were these your verdicts then, and are these your verdicts now?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 9, you have heard the verdicts read. Were these your verdicts then, and are these your verdicts now?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 10, you have heard the verdicts read. Were these your verdicts then, and are these your verdicts now?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 11, you have heard the verdicts read. Were these your verdicts then, and are these your verdicts now?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 12, you have heard the verdicts read. Were these your verdicts then, and are these your verdicts now?
Yes, Your Honor.
And juror 16, you have heard the verdicts read. Were these your verdicts then, and are these your verdicts now?
Yes, sir.
The jury has been polled. Anything further from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
From Greg McMichael.
No, Your Honor.
From Mr. Bryan.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, what that means with the court having accepted your verdict is that your role in this case is now at an end. What we're going to do today is I'm going to have all of you, the panel and the 3 alternates, go ahead and retire into the jury room. I'm going to address a couple matters logistically with you in the jury room once we get done here. But before we do that, and before I excuse you, I do want to thank you publicly for your service here in Glenn County. It has been a long trial, and I appreciate the fact that you have been attentive. You've listened to the evidence, and that is what we ask in this court. It's a very simple ask in a very complex way, so it's appreciated. When we all got together, I say we all got together, when we got together at different times, I said that I was going to thank you a number of times and how I was going to tell you I do truly appreciate your time here. Hopefully you understand why I said that when we started. I do also hope that you got a little bit of an insight into what goes on in a trial and maybe understand a little bit more of how important it is for members of our community to come down and be part of this process and serve as jurors in this community. So again, thank you for that service. And I'll come address y'all in just a moment. You're excused.
All right, for the jury.
All right, it is this court's usual practice with regard to sentencing to go ahead and give everybody some time to put together what they need to put together for a full sentencing hearing. I'm going to have to look at the schedule and see how that works with my schedule up in Chatham County and the schedule here in Glynn County. I'll get back to everybody about some dates and see what works with respect to dates. That should give everybody an opportunity to put together whatever evidence may be shown in aggravation from the state or mitigation from the defense. Hopefully we'll get to that in the next couple of weeks. Again, I'll make sure council knows what those dates are. That addresses the open matter then before the court. Anything from the state before we adjourn?
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
From Travis McMichael.
No, Your Honor.
From Gregory McMichael.
No, Your Honor.
And from Mr. Bryan.
No, Your Honor.
All right, the defendants then are ordered to remain in the custody of the sheriff, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
There you have it, the breaking news, the verdict in the Ahmaud Arbery murder trial. All three defendants found guilty of murdering Ahmaud Arbery in February of 2020. Let me go back to former federal prosecutor Laura Coates and get your reaction first to this verdict, Laura.
This was absolutely the right call, and this is the essence of justice. However, when you're talking about the loss of life of a 25-year-old jogger whose mother's been inside that courtroom, whose father's been inside that courtroom, where the final thing that the jury saw was who Ahmaud Arbery was before he encountered these three men, three strangers who felt entitled for him to stop simply because they thought that they had some authority to get somebody who was jogging to stop and talk to him. And when he didn't, they pulled out a shotgun and he was shot and killed. And remember in that video, which is so graphic and so horrible to look at, even then he tried to run and the adrenaline was kicking in and he fell again. Remember, this is somebody who tried to run away for 5 minutes until he was cornered, could run no more. And it was the idea of having all three men accountable. Roddie Bryan, of course, said initially that he was only a witness to the crime. But in reality, the jurors were not persuaded by that. Although he did videotape it, he played an active role. The father, Greg McMichael, who was on the back of the truck, played an active role in pursuing. Travis McMichael, who was the person who actually shot him, played an active role. But this case comes down to, one, the absence of a claim, a viable claim of self-defense. The idea, even when Travis McMichael took the stand and said, no, he never threatened me. No, I don't recall Max trying to take the gun. No, he never shouted at me. How could you possibly make a case in that point for self-defense? But more importantly, in the world of Georgia, they have a party to the crime expansive statute that says, look, if you aided and abetted in some way the commission of a crime, you were as guilty as the person who pulled the trigger. Here, Travis McMichael pulled the trigger. That's not in dispute. The other two men aided and abetted, hunting this man down. Why? Because they wanted him to stop. Not because they had some viable color of law or authority. These are three people who are, for all intents and purposes, are laymen. And the prosecution did a phenomenal job ensuring that the jurors saw that each of these men were culpable and that there was no self-defense claim. But I caution people when I say this, and I say this is justice in action. This is really a traumatic experience for this family, a traumatic experience for the nation. one in which justice could never fully be realized when you have the loss of someone's life. But in Georgia, each of these three men, the men that took away the life of somebody's son, somebody's loved one, a human being, they will now serve the rest of their lives in jail. And, Anna, this is not the end of it. They now will have a federal hate crime trial. And I wanted to make one more point here, Anna, if I could. A law was made about the racial composition of this jury. The idea is only one black juror. And many people thought in a county, in a jury system, they had 27% of black people and 25% from that pool, to have only one black juror, to have the defense counsel refuse to want to allow black pastors in the courtroom. Criticism for the prosecution not raising race enough. 12 human beings recognized that a human being was hunted down and killed. Why? Because he was running. And according to that 911 call that the jurors wanted to hear, the emergency to these men was a black man running. Now, this tells you a lot about what we perceive to mean about the jury pool, what we think about the composition of jurors. But 12 human beings, 11 white, 1 black, came to the same conclusion of what they saw. A black man hunted down on the streets of Brunswick, Georgia. Why? Simply because he existed and had the audacity to run and not stop when 3 white strangers told him they'd blow his head off if he didn't.
Laura Coates, stand by with me. That jury was 9 white women, 3 men, 2 of those men white, 1 of them black. You talk about how this family has lived with this hole in their hearts as they have awaited this day and this verdict. And we heard during that court proceeding, after the first guilty verdict was read, woohoo in the courtroom. We've learned that came from the father of Ahmaud Arbery, who could not contain his emotion clearly when that verdict was delivered. Let's go live to Sarah Seidner on scene now outside the courthouse. Sarah, what can you tell us?
Look, I'm standing here with Ryan, who has been here throughout this trial from the very beginning now to the very end, and both of us can hear loud chants just behind us. You are hearing people saying, "We got justice." That is the sentiment of the crowd outside. As you mentioned, this jury was made up of 9 white women, 2 white men, and 1 black man, but they all came up with a decision together. And almost every single charge, almost all of the 9 counts against each of these men, they were found guilty. There were a couple of charges that dropped off. For Greg McMichael, for example, one of the charge, the malice murder charge, they said not guilty, but the rest of the murder charges, the other 4, they said guilty. And then for William Bryan. Now, William Bryan is a person, he didn't pull a gun, he was with them, he did use his truck, but those charges that had to do with having a firearm, he did not face those charges, but everything else he faced, and that includes murder and aggravated assault.
And I think the thing that stands out to both of us is the fact that it was also his cell phone that captured this video. There was a lot of people who were upset in this community about the fact it took so long for these charges ever to be filed. And you think about this happened back in February of 2020, and people were so angry about it. And it took several days. It took a GBI investigation to get to the point where the charges are now. And then to have this community really on edge all day, walking around and talking to business leaders here, they were concerned about how this community was going to be bruised by the information that we've seen over and over again. But then you think about it, something that Laura Coates brought up here is the fact that the ending, the prosecution, ended up zeroing in on that video. And if you think about it, just a few hours ago when you popped up live, those jurors wanted to see that video again. And I can tell you, when you watch the video with nothing else but the video, it kind of shakes you. And they wanted to watch it 3 times in a row.
That's right.
Okay, guys, stand by. I want to go to Ellie Honig now. And Ellie, as I look at this form that you helped make for me in order to keep track of all of the verdicts, because there were 27 different verdicts. A reminder, it is interesting. Travis McMichael, he was the one who shot and killed Ahmaud Arbery. He was found guilty on all 9 counts. His father, Greg McMichael, was found guilty on 8 counts, but not malice murder, but the felony murder charges. And then that third defendant, William Bryan, was found guilty on 6 counts, not guilty on a couple of the murder counts, but guilty on a couple of those. So all 3 men ultimately were found guilty of murder. And I think that's the most important point to underscore here, because the sentence is the same with all these murder charges, life in prison, right?
Exactly, Anna. And I think, first of all, big picture, this is justice. This is justice for Ahmaud Arbery, for his family, for his parents who bore all of this with such grace and dignity. Now, the verdict itself, I think, reminds us that we had a full and fair and complete and careful criminal justice process here. This is how trials are supposed to work. Your jurors are supposed to shut out all the noise, all the politics around this, and make their decision based solely on the facts and the law. And I think the verdict sheet shows that they were very careful. They didn't just say guilty across the board, not guilty across the board. They tailored the verdict to the facts, and now all three of these men will spend life in prison.
Okay, Ellie, stand by. Let me bring in Mark O'Mara. You may recall Mark from the Trayvon Martin, the trial of George Zimmerman. He represented George Zimmerman there in that trial, a much different outcome than we are seeing here. Mark, first, your thoughts about this verdict today and this case.
I'm glad we have one. I had mentioned along the way that I was concerned because of the geography of where it was and the fact that there were 11 whites on the panel. But we know from the verdicts that they deliberated well and that they were paying attention during the trial. They used the jury instructions the way they should have. Because if you look at it, as Ellie just said, they looked at it and assigned responsibility appropriately to the three people involved. Travis, of course, the first charge, the murder charge, the malice murder. Dad, not the shooter, but still heavily involved in leading to the death of it. He got that charge. Roddie Bryan, less involved, but still committed a murder by the felony involvement that he had. So I'm glad that they took their time and that they walked through all of the verdicts the way they did, because now it can be accepted as a well-educated and well-thought-out verdict. And again, not only has justice been served for the Ahmaud Arbery family, but also for the Black community generally, and for us who live within the criminal justice system, because the opposite verdict, a hung jury or one where an acquittal came, would have been impossible to defend with the facts of this case.
Thank you, Mark. Stand by. I want to bring in CNN political commentator, who's also a lawyer, Bakari Sellers. And Bakari, you know, the past year we've talked so much about racial justice, right? And this case happened prior to the killing of George Floyd in Minnesota, but it had so many of the same threads that, you know, kind of all fall into that same bucket. And we talk about the role race played in this case and the upcoming hate crime trial that these same defendants will face at a federal level. What do you think today's verdict means more broadly in that discussion?
Well, I hate to push back on my colleagues today who are much more brilliant than I and probably better lawyers than I, but I don't believe today is about justice. I think Ahmaud Arbery being alive is justice. I think today is about something that's actually been even more fleeting for Black people in this country in situations like this, which is accountability. Today is a day, just like the Derek Chauvin trial, where you finally have accountability for individuals who hunt people down and murder them and don't give them the benefit of their humanity. You know, the unique thing about this is we found out today that, yeah, lynching is still illegal in the United States of America. That's what we all saw. But we also know how difficult this journey was for this family to even get to this day of accountability. We know how difficult it was to even bring charges against these individuals. And so I believe that today is the day that this country needed. I don't want to say deserved, but needed, Anna, because the fact is, just imagine if we're sitting here talking about not guilty verdicts. I believe that this country and our democracy is fundamentally fragile and hanging on by a thread. And I don't believe that a not guilty verdict today would have served us well as a country. In fact, going into this holiday weekend, I think it would have torn this country apart. That's how fragile our democracy is. And that's how tired and exhausting it is for people of color, particularly Black folk in this country. So, yeah, today we had accountability. I've been talking to Ben Crump and Lee Merritt all day long. Today we've had that level of accountability. But I will tell you that this is just one day, and finally we got it. And tomorrow will come, and hopefully more Black people won't be killed because of the color of their skin.
Bakari Sellers, thank you. Thanks to all of our guests, our analysts, our reporters this past hour. I'm going to hand off our coverage now to my colleague, Allison Camerata, who picks up the breaking news now.
This is CNN Breaking News.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to News from Malice and Camerata. We have breaking news. After 11 and a half hours of deliberations, jurors find all 3 defendants in the Ahmaud Arbery murder trial guilty of murder. Ahmaud Arbery's mother, Wanda, was visibly emotional as the verdict was read, and you can see that crowds outside of the courthouse are chanting Ahmaud Arbery as the guilty verdicts came in and were celebrating. Let's go straight to Sarah Seidner and Ryan Young, who are outside the courthouse in Brunswick, Georgia. So tell us the reaction that you're seeing around you guys.
Look, just outside the court, and that's where people have been this whole time, waiting in chairs sometimes milling about, but they have now all gathered out in front of the courthouse steps, where we have seen the mother of Ahmaud Arbery and her attorneys, Lee Merritt, going in and out of court every single day of this trial. They are there to support the Arbery family very clearly. They have been chanting his name. They have been saying, "We got justice." There was an act, you could hear sort of a scream of relief. You could hear people hooping and hollering, if you will, when they heard the first verdict, when they heard Travis McMichael and this jury deciding that he was guilty of the first count of malice murder and then all of the other charges. All 3 of these men are now convicted of murder charges. There were a couple of murder charges that dropped off for Greg McMichael, one of those charges, Travis's father, one of those murder charges dropped up, and for William Roddie Bryan, a couple of murder charges that dropped off for him, but they are facing a lot of time in prison in this particular case. And look, people have been waiting here for 2 full weeks during this trial, right, and been coming back and forth as this has gone on for many weeks. And as Ryan has talked about, this has taken a long time to get to this point where people feel like justice was served. Ryan?
Yeah, and you think about this, especially Allison, the sort of racial undertones that have played out through this, that sort of shock.
All right. Okay, everybody. Can everybody hear me? That's the breaking news. I wanted to go live with that just as they were handing down the verdicts in this case. Let me see who we have in the chat room. I will get back to that feed in just a moment. You caught it. You got it here live on the Information Man show. I want to give everybody out there a lovely clap. Thank you for being here. You caught it live here. I was able to capture it just as the verdict came in, not pre-recorded, not a replay from what already happened. You got it live in effect right here. All right. And the other night ago, I went live and it was a very emotional moment because I had a panel. I'm going to open up the panel for people to come up and give their opinions about how they feel about the verdict today. But this was a very important, it's very important that I was able to bring this live in effect. It looks like all 3 of these knuckleheads are going to, they're going to spend the rest of their life in prison because they still got the federal charges coming their way. And that dude, Bryan, who thought he was going to get out, he's going to get some more charges coming his way federally. So I say hooray for this. Hooray, hip hop, hooray! Hip hop, hooray!
Tell the truth.
They need to bury them under the prison. They'll need protective custody. I thank everybody that's here. Share the video on your social media, your community tabs. You got the breaking news here, at least in terms of YouTube is concerned. I broke it here. I know there's people that are doing streams now about this, but I was able to capture it in that moment, live, not recorded, when they laid the verdicts on those 2 Curly, Moe, and Larry. We're going to go back over. I'll go back over into the live feed to give you more content. Now, my live feed is kind of special. Guess what I'm using from my live feed? Not YouTube. Well, it is actually YouTube. I actually am using YouTube TV. I signed up for it a couple of days ago. It's actually pretty cool. So it allows me to get right into legitimate live feeds right then and there, right off the system. Let me just say peace to Sister Gloria Murray, Kiki05, Lees Brown, thank you for being here. DC, Purple Diva, good to see you, sister. We got Sis Zelga. I don't know if I'm bad with names. We got Water Sniper in the house. Thank you for being here. We've got Courtney. We got the lovely Courtney SLP. Thank you for being here. Water Sniper is in the house as well. Brother Dominique Jones is in the house. Glad I could catch it. I'm glad I could catch all of this live and in effect, folks. Let me just fix something here. You know, I really wasn't even prepared. Well, I was prepared, but I was waiting. And I mean, I tell you, I've been waiting for them to break the word on this verdict since early this morning. And I'm glad I was able to catch it live in effect and broadcast it live in effect to you all. We got Jay East Music, and he's from Neverlands. Thank you for coming over. Magics. We got Black Queen Magic in the house. If I'm saying that correct, if I'm not, I apologize. Michael is coming in the house. We've got Who Are You? I Want Them to Get Life in Prison Without Parole. I want it too. Hip, hip, parade! Hip, hip, parade! Yes, celebration. I think I'm going to have a bottle of wine tonight over this. Kick my feet up. Kick my feet up on the couch and ponder the way this turned out. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm happy about the way it's turned out so far because you know how it goes usually, folks. We don't usually get justice in these situations. Let me go and see who else we got in here. We got my man, Brother Rob is in the house. Thank you for being here, Brother Rob. Coming over and joining the program. We got George Frazier here. Thank you. We got the one-man band. That's my man there. Check out his channel. We've got Making Four. Thank you for being here. All right, we got Bonnie Rose coming in the house. We got my man, Wow William 454. We got one of my great mods in the house. That's the guy from Texas. And Gloria Murray is saying hello to the one-man band. Kiki05 says, I think the racism connotation behind the lawyer's words worked against them as well. Yeah, it might have. You know, you're making a good point there. It might have worked against them in this instance. And I think you're making a very good point there. We'll just have to see how this whole thing plays itself out still. Let me see who else we got coming in. We got my man Cap, PY2, the veteran, military veteran. Give me some love in the chat room. Briggs, Emmanuel Briggs is in the house. The beautiful sister Aisha is in the house. I'm gonna Hey, folks, I don't know how many of you are working today or you got the day off, you're just relaxing, kicking back at home with your family, but I am going to open up the panel to get your opinions about how you feel about the verdict so far. To hear that, Lightning? Let me go for just a few more moments. I'm going to go right back over to the live feed and let you hear what they're saying just a little bit more, and I'm coming right back. I'm going to pop myself up on the screen, but let's just go back in that live feed right now. Just a little bit.
Because the Georgia Bureau of Investigations got involved, and now you have an attorney from outside of this county, by the way, who came in as the prosecutor on this case, and frankly, having listened to her closing arguments and her rebuttal, it was the strongest one I've heard in quite some time.
Yeah, when you talk to law enforcement officials, she's from the Cobb County area. When you talk to people outside of Atlanta, they talk about how she is a person who you don't want to go against because she is so good with that closing. And when you think about that law enforcement community and the judge not being from here as well, you got to give the judge credit for keeping this calm. How many mistrial moments were there where he was like, no, and he had that steady hand? So when you think about all the things that played into this to get us to this point, it shows you how justice can work when everything's moving in the right direction. But remember, it didn't work initially, and then they had to restart it. And then you think about those federal charges and the prosecutor maybe being in trouble in this, the DA being in trouble later on. It really compounds the situation when this community's been asking for change. Even the police department has decided to do things differently now. They will bring the GBI in quicker in investigations like this so they don't have some of the same issues.
But that we should be clear is because the community has demanded it after all of this. And again, I think Ryan touched on something that really needs to be stated. It has been peaceful. There has been chants. There have been prayers. There hasn't really been any sort of trouble. There were folks who were out here armed, black folks out here armed, and there has been no real issue, no fighting that has happened out here. This community extremely afraid of what was going to happen. And I am sure, as I talked to a couple of folks this morning, that there is relief as to what has happened in this case, and relief to see the community not breaking apart and fighting one another, but coming together calmly.
I mean, Allison, you've watched the video over and over again, so you understand how people feel in terms of that bubble wanting something to change, and it looks like they may have gotten some of that at this point.
And everything that you are both telling us is such important context to remember all of the obstacles for this family in getting justice. And then, as you described, getting, I'm sure, the prosecutor that they feel was, you know, the best choice at the end of the day. Guys, stand by, if you would. I want to bring in our legal experts, Ellie Honig, Laura Coates, and Alexis Hogue for us. Ellie, this is the guilty verdicts. I mean, there were 27 different charges. There were 27 possible guilties. They ended up having having 23. So it was not one size fits all, as you have pointed out. The jury had to meticulously go through the 3 different defendants and the 9 different charges, and they made different decisions based on what happened.
Yeah, Allison, we can tell from this verdict that the jury was very careful to tailor the verdict to the fact itself. And just so people understand what happened here with the murder charges. So the jury found Travis McMichael guilty of intentional murder, what we call malice murder, meaning he intended to kill Ahmaud Arbery.
Malice
and he
murder.
did. Now, the jury found the other
What's
two
going on,
defendants,
King
Greg
Wage?
McMichael, the father, and Roddie Bryan, the friend who was down the street, not guilty of intentional murder, but guilty of felony murder. And what that means is the jury found that those 2 people intentionally committed the felony, the aggravated assault, chasing him with the truck, the false imprisonment, and as a result of that, whether they intended it or not, Ahmaud Arbery was killed. And under the law of felony murder, that makes the father and Roddie Bryan guilty of murder as well. They, all 3 now, face life sentences.
Alexis, I want to hear your
Life
thoughts
sentence,
as well as what
yay.
you think ended up being the most compelling piece of evidence.
Yeah, the most compelling piece of evidence is the fact that they hunted down a black man. I know other commenters have called this a modern-day lynching, and that's exactly what it was. And it was no irony that they relied on this now repealed citizens arrest law that was out of Georgia. And that was actually enacted in 1863 that really deputized private citizens to hunt down enslaved people and recapture them, return them to slavery. And so that was undeniable. I know I was sort of remiss that the state didn't lean harder on that case, but that's essentially what carried the day. It was clear as a bell, and you had the defense instead that was using sort of this dog whistle racially coded language, and that ended up falling flat. And this jury, as Ellie walked through the charges, returned 3 of 27 guilty verdicts.
Laura, I mean, about some of that language that the defense attorneys used, I've heard you talk about it, resorting to going after Ahmaud Arbery's appearance. It was unvarnished racist tropes. I mean, they weren't even trying to use coded language at some point. And I guess today we know that that tactic didn't work.
No, and of course, Allison, you can go back even before those egregious, disgusting statements alluding to his hygiene in some way, as if that was the emphasis. You go back to the way in which the defense counsel, in at least more than one instance, initially said during jury selection, look, we don't have enough, his words, bubbas on this jury. We need people who are not college educated. He was talking about what he thought would resonate with jurors in his defense. And in doing so, he made a gross miscalculation on more than one front. But the main one being here, that somehow you'd be able to have these either dog whistles or blatant attempts to try to have come to the surface latent bigotry if it's not already there. And he thought that if you were somehow going to be white and uneducated, then you would side with
Laura,
three
give me 1 second. I'm sorry to
strangers who
interrupt.
hunted
Just
him
1
down.
second. I just want to point out what we're seeing, which is the family with their
family.
attorneys and the people who supported them. You see them, their arms raised in obviously a sort of victory
Fantastic.
gesture. And we're seeing Ahmaud Arbery's mom there. I think she is next to Al Sharpton. We see Ben Crump, I believe, right there in the front. Let me just go back to Ryan Young and Sarah Seidner for a second. I believe that they might be, well, let's listen in, because I think that his mom might be about to make a statement, or her legal team and supporters. So let's just listen in to this for 1 second.
Let us say, first and foremost, we're going to start by thanking God for shining on us. Let us thank these lawyers.
Amen.
Let us thank the prosecutors.
Amen.
Let us thank the activists that y'all called the mob, that marched and stood up. Let us thank all of the people that believed. And let us, more than anything, thank the mother and father of Ahmaud. They lost a son, but their son will go down in history as one that proved that if you hold on, that justice can come. This mother would tell me, Reverend, we're going to win this. When I had doubts, she kept praying. This father said, we got to get some justice for my son. And let the word go forth all over the world that a jury of 11 whites and 1 black in the deep South stood up in the courtroom and said that black lives do matter. Let it be clear that almost 10 years after Trayvon, God used Wanda and Marcus's son to prove that if we kept marching and kept fighting, we would make you hear us. We got a lot more battles to fight, but this was an important battle today. This was proving that our children know their value, and that's why those people that march, I'm talking about the people here, that was here when nobody else was here.
Come on.
They stood up.
Come on.
Brunswick.
Facts. We got the #1 grinder in the house, Mickey.
Brunswick,
Bricks
Georgia
2.0.
will go down
The
in
General
history
is in the house.
as
Peace
the
to everybody in
place
that chat room.
Criminal justice took a different turn. Let us pray.
This
Dear
is live
God,
feed, ladies and gentlemen.
Dear God, we come thanking you for your mercy. Thanking you for giving us a prosecutor's team that when it looked to us like they'd stack the jury, that you still found a way to open up the minds of people to listen to the evidence and weigh it based on facts, not based on skin color.
Come on.
That you gave strength to this mother and you gave strength to this father to not give up on you, even when many of us doubted, even when many of us said it's not going to happen. You came in the state of Georgia, a state known for segregation, a state known for Jim Crow, and you turned it around. You took a young unarmed boy that they thought was worthless, and you put his name in history today. Years from now, decades from now, they'll be talking about a boy named Ahmaud Arbery that taught this country what justice looks like. As we go forth, let us go forth in the victory you've given us. Thank everyone in Brunswick that marched, that stood out in front of this courthouse, that was called a lynch mob, but they kept on marching. And let us know that all whites are not racist. And all blacks are not worthless. That we're all your children. And we will give you the grace and give you the glory. The glory be yours, not ours. Let us not be proud. And let us not be vengeful, but let us be thankful that you brought us closer together today. These blessings we ask in your name and your sake. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. We never had a Thanksgiving day like today. We will hear from the attorneys and the parents.
All right, everybody, we're going to hear from the attorneys. Is he saying, what's going on, brother? Sanchez TV's in the house.
Running for the Texas Attorney General. He asked me not to say it, but I'm going to say it because we
Good to see y'all all here. I caught
like
this live as they were giving the verdict today, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear what they're saying, and then I'm going to have a panel to let people come up and speak their mind about this today.
Even as he handled other cases, these lawyers kept going to the wall and stood up. Amen. We walked out of court buildings with tears in our eyes. We cried inside, but they were tears of joy because people like Thurgood Marshall and others broke down barriers to produce a Ben Crump and a Lee Merritt.
Amen.
Lee Merritt.
All right. Amen.
You all don't want to hear from me right now. You want to hear from the family of Ahmaud Arbery, as we all do. We want to wrap our arms around them. The only reason that I'm speaking is to provide an introduction for a praying mother. You all have known her now for the last 18 months. 18 months ago, when she learned about the murder of her son, they told her that she would just have to deal with it alone. They told her that there would be no arrest, that there would be no accountability, that there would be no justice. And she made her son a promise before she laid him in the ground that his mom would fight for justice for him. In order to do that, Glenn County had to change.
That's right.
She couldn't find justice in the Glenn County that she found in the year 2000.
That's right.
On February 23rd, there was a prosecutor standing in her way, Jackie Johnson. Wanda Cooper prayed her out of the way, out of office, and she's facing criminal charges herself.
And she should.
That's right.
When she came to Glenn, when she was looking for justice in Glenn
Peace to
County,
everybody
she
in
was
that chat
faced
room.
with
I appreciate
a
y'all coming over.
legal system, one that never fully investigated her son's murder, as we learned during the course of this trial. Wanda performed her own investigation. Wanda hired her own attorneys, and she woke up a nation.
Amen.
Can you all join me in just giving a round of applause for this fighting, faithful, praying mother? I'm going to let Wanda come forward. Come on, Wanda.
I just want to say thank you, guys.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank each and every one of you who fought this fight with us. It's been a long fight. It's been a hard fight, but God is good.
Yes, He is.
Early in, to tell you the truth, I never saw this day back in 2020. I never thought this day would come, but God is good.
Yes, He is.
And I just want to tell everybody, thank you for those who marched, those who prayed, most of all the ones who prayed.
Yes, Lord.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, Lord.
Thank you. That now Quez, which you know him as Ahmaud,
I know him as Quez.
Yes.
He will now rest in peace.
Yes.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on.
Let me find a way to step out of the way.
You all heard the gut-wrenching grunt
Oh my goodness.
that came out of Marcus Arbery when they pronounced Travis McMichael guilty. He could not contain it any further because think about how long he and Wanda have been enduring all the innuendo, all the allegations, all the character assassinations, long legs with dirty toenails. Just imagine all they went through.
Tell the
And
truth.
when he heard that, Reverend Al, he could not contain himself because Marcus, as a father, they see their job as to protect their children.
That's right.
And
That's right.
you can experience the pain of a mother and a father who witnessed what they witnessed, not being there to protect their child. Every parent in America can take solace in knowing that we have an example of how to deal with tragedy and grief when they look at the example of Marcus Arbery and Wanda Cooper, and we should applaud them. They should be applauded. And I tell you all, we together did this. We all together, black, white, activists, faith members, lawyers, prosecutors. We did this together. We said,
No, it was
America,
black folks that
we
did it
will
now.
make
Let's not get into the
us
rainbow
better
stuff,
than what
brother.
we saw in that
It was black
video.
folks out there.
Tell the
That's
truth.
who I saw out
I
there,
would be remiss if
out there
we
outside
didn't
that courtroom.
even though we are
We the only ones that can cape
clapping
for
and
each
we're
other.
cheering and we applaud.
We have to cape for each other.
Wanda and Marcus
Can't depend on other people to cape
still
for us.
are devastated because they missing
But
a
the
mob.
chat room agree with that. We black folks have to cape for
And
ourselves.
so even though this is not a celebration, it is a reflection to acknowledge that the spirit of Ahmaud defeated the lynch mob. The spirit of Ahmaud defeated the lynch mob. The spirit of Ahmaud defeated the lynch mob. Marcus Arbery.
Black folks, we have to cape for ourselves, y'all.
Go on, Marcus. Go.
Number one, I want to give all glory to God
Yes.
because that's who made all this possible.
Yes, it is.
Number two, I want to thank his mama.
Yeah.
And I want to thank my sisters and brothers. I want to thank my children for being strong through this rough time
Yes.
because I know it was hard what they had to deal with.
Yes.
And number two, I want to thank all y'all people, all the support y'all gave us because
Yes.
one of us even did this. You know, one
That's
side
Ahmaud
did it.
Arbery's father there.
God put us all together to make this happen.
That's his
So it
father.
ain't no one side. Tell what I tell you. God don't work one-sided.
Yes.
God work two-sided. All right, I'm going to put you here, I'm going to put you there.
Amen.
So y'all pull together and work this thing.
Amen.
So, hey.
That's right. We all we
that's
got.
what
We
it's
got to
all
work
about.
together
Amen.
Because
with
if one
God.
side wouldn't work, it wouldn't have happened.
That's right.
You had people working when you wasn't working.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Come
you
on.
can't accomplish
When
anything
you
without
wasn't
working
working, you had
together.
people out here working.
But this
March,
case had a
going
lot of
in this
racism,
office.
folks.
Yeah.
We conquered that lynch mob.
Yes.
We got that lynch mob. This history today. Letting you know that black kid life does matter. That's right. For real, all life matter.
All life.
Yes.
Not just black children. We don't want to see nobody go through this.
Amen.
I wouldn't want to see no daddy watch their kid get lynched and shot down like that. So
But
it's
it
all our
doesn't happen
problem.
to other
It's all our
men,
problem.
all due respect
So,
to
hey,
Ahmaud Arbery's
let's keep
father.
fighting.
It only happens
Let's
to
keep
our
doing it and making this
kids.
place
It
a
only
better place
happens
for
to
all
black
human
people
beings.
historically.
All
When it
human
comes to
beings.
lynching.
Amen.
Everybody.
Amen.
Love everybody.
Love everybody.
All human beings need to be treated equally.
True, but we got to also love ourselves too,
We
brother.
conquer this lynching. Today is a good day.
Amen.
All right. Yeah.
We also got to love ourselves as well before we can love
Before
others.
the lawyers come back, let me also say, as I said to all of the activists, the family, thank them. We thank a lot of those that were local.
Yes.
Reverend Baker,
Oh, yeah.
come on,
Yeah.
who stood up
Right.
even when other clergy wouldn't stand up.
Right.
This pastor stood with the family.
That's right.
The others.
That's right.
We want to thank Barbara Unwine for coming down and been here from the beginning. All of the ministers that came last Thursday. We want to thank Cliff, who's been a rock in the word. And I want to thank, if he's watching, Reverend Jesse Jackson, who despite his illness came down and sat in that courtroom. And all of us, this is a day white and black activists showed we could unite and beat the lynch mob that killed our men. And though I never say this often, I must say, we want to thank the prosecutors. They stood and fought for this family. Tomorrow, in all our joy today, there will be an empty chair at Wanda's table. Ahmaud would not be at Thanksgiving tomorrow.
That's right.
But she can look at that chair and say to Ahmaud, I fought a good fight.
That's right. That's right.
And I got you some justice. We can't fill that chair for you, Wanda, but we can say that you were mother above all mothers. You fought for your son. And Marcus, you fought for your son. And even though it'll be a sober and solemn Thanksgiving, you can thank God you didn't let your boy down.
Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on, man. Thank you, man. You gonna take questions?
No. So, Ben and I had a difficult task to do when showing up to this courthouse and turning the case over to the prosecutors.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, it's a live feed. I caught this
as attorneys, as
verdict
advocates, we want to
live in
exercise
effect.
control over something this
I
important.
will have an open
and it was
panel
difficult
for
to relinquish
discussion
that control to
for
the Cobb
people's
County
opinions.
Prosecutor's Office. Of course, we had to under the law, and they
I appreciate
did what
everybody's
they had
support
to do to
here.
secure a conviction. And I
If you're new to the
applaud them
channel,
for
definitely
putting on
subscribe.
an airtight case that resulted in conviction.
Hit the bell and
for all these
notification.
men. They've invited Wanda and Marcus and their supporters to stand with them for their press conference. And so we're going to do something else that's difficult to do. We're not taking any questions. We're going to step back. We're going to allow the prosecutors to make a presentation about their case as we stand with them in solidarity and thank them for their efforts.
And it's a good example for when Lee Meredith's Texas Attorney General.
I suggest everybody in the chat room, when you have a chance, however you like to celebrate, a drink, some good food, a dance, some tea, some good loving tonight, whatever you got to do to celebrate what just took place today. Do it, as long as it's nothing that's endangering your health, like drugs and stuff.
District Attorney for the Cobb County.
Hold on. Hey, y'all, please be quiet so we can give them the respect they so
Okay,
richly
yeah, be
deserve.
quiet. I'll be quiet too.
Hello, my name is Latonia P. Hines. I am the Executive Assistant District Attorney for the Cobb County District Attorney's Office. I bring you greetings and remarks from our District Attorney, Flynn D. Brody Jr., who was appointed as District Attorney Pro Tem for this case and for the prosecution of this case. Unfortunately, he was not able to be here due to a family medical emergency. First and foremost, we want you to know that from the moment this case came to our office, it was our foremost goal to ensure that we got justice for Ahmaud Arbery's family. And in particular, we are so very proud and thankful for the confidence that the family has given to us. We admire and commend the courage, the steadfastness, and the strength of Miss Wanda Cooper Jones, Ahmaud's mother, and Mr. Marcus Arbery Sr., the father of Ahmaud, in seeking this justice during this process. It has been a long road, and we are so happy that we're able to be here at this end of this road. We'd like to also say thank you, and we commend the courage and bravery of this jury to say that what happened on February 23rd, 2020 to Ahmaud Arbery, the hunting and killing of Ahmaud Arbery, it was not only morally wrong, but
Yes.
legally wrong.
Morally wrong.
And we are thankful for that.
Amen.
We want to thank and specifically recognize some people who have been involved with regard
Right,
to
I would
the
agree. We do
prosecution of
still
this
have to wait
case.
for the actual
In
official
particular, our
sentencing.
team, our
But
lead
the fact of the
attorney,
matter is
senior
they've been,
assistant,
the jury has
district
spoken.
attorney Linda Dunikowski.
The sentencing is just a formality, but the jury has spoken. They guilty as
Assistant
sin.
District Attorney Larissa Oliveira. Senior Assistant District Attorney Paul Camarillo. Our Chief Investigator Charles Prescott.
Thank you, Brother Prescott.
Deputy Chief Investigator Keith Lamone. Investigator Cameron Watson. Investigator Darius McClure. We also need to thank people from
Make sure you subscribe to the program.
Listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Thank you, everybody. If you are new to the program, I do a lot of different streams, a lot of different social issues, political issues, cultural issues. I do panels every now and then, bring people on, get their thoughts. I do a lot of analysis and analyzing the things that are happening in our society and our world. If you are new to the channel, definitely subscribe, hit the bell notification so that you can catch me whenever I go live. This is the Information Man Show if you're new here, and I say thank you. Clap to you all again.
Tell the truth.
I'm going to reconnect the audio to the feed and then eventually come back on full screen with myself to talk to folks in the good chat room. I'll be putting your thoughts on the screen that everyone is saying in there as best I can. And my goal, hopefully, is to have a panel today. Here we go, back to the feed.
With GMA, we also thank Operations Managers for Homeland Security, Todd Keys. What we can make note of this is that Ahmaud's death has significant changes in this community and in our state and in this nation. With the passing of Georgia's first ever hate crime bill and the changing of Georgia's antiquated citizens arrest law. We want to thank this community for the support that it has given to the family and to us and the community at large. And we want to have some opportunity to have some remarks also from our team. So our senior assistant district attorney and lead attorney, Linda Dunikowski.
Let me just say this. Let me just say this real quick, folks. I'll get back to that. Brother Keith, if the troll that's in the chat room that you put on timeout comes back in and continues the same bull crap, I want them completely blocked out of the chat room because we have no time for this type of nonsense. We have no time. So if that individual comes back in with the same BS after they've been timed out with more of that same BS, just simply get rid of them, block them out of the chat room. We don't have time for the nonsense. Ladies and gentlemen, this is live on YouTube. I appreciate everybody out there for watching. And I'm the Information Man, as many of you know. If you're new to the channel, again, definitely subscribe, hit the bell notification, check me out. I'm also a podcaster. If you just put Information Man Show or Speaks Podcast in your Google, you're going to find me all over the place. So I appreciate everybody that's listening. We're multi streaming today. I'm streaming into Twitch, Facebook. I probably got a lot of people over on Facebook checking me out right now, as well as the stream. The link has been sent out to many social medias. If y'all can all do me a favor and simply with your phone, your cell phones, whatever you're using, share this on your Twitter, your Facebook, share this video. And if you are a content creator, share this video in your community tab as well. I just want to say thank you out there for that. This is about Ahmaud Arbery. The brother got justice. But the bad thing is that it would be better if he was alive. I think someone said this in the chat room too. It would be better if Ahmaud Arbery was alive to enjoy the holidays with his family. It's an empty table in that household, but what has happened is the right thing that should have happened, and that is those three piece of garbage racists, they should be getting the time that they're going to get. Looks like they're going to get a life sentence, ladies and gentlemen, and that's exactly what they need to get. And they need to throw, they need, a lot of things need to happen. A lot needs to happen. Let's go back over to the feed, shall we? I'm going to open up the audio on that.
All right.
Come on.
Okay. All right, we've been listening to very passionate, stirring speeches there from Ahmaud Arbery's parents, as well as from their supporters and their lawyers, their legal team, as well as the prosecutor of the case.
All right, I thought that everybody could see me, and I did something wrong there. It's okay. Let me just come back up here like so. Okay, so now you all can see me. Let me take this off of here. I appreciate everybody who's here. Let me go back into my system here. So once again, these despicable individuals right here, the son, Travis McMichael and Gregory McMichael, they're going to get life sentences. I know it's still a formality that they have to go for their sentence so that you can know exactly what they're going to get for sure. But the jury has spoken, as I said before, and those of you that were here earlier, the jury has spoken in this case. Okay, they're going to pay the price. The other one, Bryan, he's the one that's trying to get off because he's trying to say that he was a good Samaritan taking the video, but he didn't do anything to stop these men. He never even hollered out and say, hey, don't shoot him. Why'd you shoot him? Looks like he's got hit with a couple of these counts, but they still got the federal charges coming down the pipeline, folks. All right. And I say hip hop for Ray because tonight is a good night to enjoy your drinks, your good loving, your family, and also bask in the fact that these idiots are about to pay the price for what they did that day. This doesn't often happen. Things don't often go our way in this legal or this injustice system that we know so much about, dear folks. But I think a price has to be paid. Because Ahmaud Arbery, as I said before, he paid the ultimate price. He's no longer here in the third dimension. They took his life. They had no business doing that whatsoever. And I want them to get what they deserve. I want them to get what they deserve. And I can't wait to also see the sentencing. And I am going to have a panel, as I said before, folks, let people come up and speak and render their thoughts. I'm going to go back into the feed and see what they're talking about right now. And I want to thank everybody for being here again. Once again, if you have not,
are listening to Information Man, please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
And I thank you. I usually go live on the weekends, on Sundays, around 1:30 Western time to 2:30 Western time, and you could equal that out to wherever you are in the time zone. I've got a little time this week off, so I've been doing some impromptu live streams like this around this particular case. Everybody in the chat room, you means a lot to me that everybody showed up. We had a big showing today. It really means a lot to me to see all the people in the chat room, and then there's people out there that are not in the chat room that are watching. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me, and the channel's growing and the support is getting stronger, and I really appreciate that again. And this is a topic that's going to bring a lot of people out, a hot button topic like this. Let me go right here and go back into the feed and see what's going on. And here you go, ladies and gentlemen.
on a professional presentation, never really going to the other side, especially when they were being baited about race. Right. They never fell for that. They kept moving the ball forward when it came to the actual facts, the video, and how everything laid out. And then to take it another step, the idea that laws have changed in this state surrounding this case is just amazing. We really don't see things move that fast in progression. When you think about it, the George Floyd Act still hasn't passed, and we're talking about it as a country. But in this case, in Georgia, they have made changes already.
And we have to mention one more thing.
Let me do this. Let me call some folks out in the chat room. Let me do that. We got back to the basics. I want to be respectful to everybody who showed up today. We got back to the basics. We've got TY rolling with OCOV. Thank you for coming over. We got the #1 grinder in the house, everybody. Check him out. #1 grinder. What's going on, good brother? We got Keith in the house. Again, we got Patella Patella Afro is in the house. We've got Life of GCV with Gwen. Good to see you here. Check out that sister's channel. Very spiritual sister. We got H&H in the house. Thank you for being here. We got Peggy Roster that's here. Thank you for being here. Once again, we got my man East Music out of the Netherlands, if I'm correct about that, who came over to show support. We got CM who's showing support, saying, I love your community, my brother. Thank you. Look, right. The thing about the folks that give incredible support over here is that we don't get in a lot of drama over here. I don't have drama in the chat room. Now, if somebody come in that chat room, did you see I got an army of modded up people? You come up in my chat room handling yourself the wrong way, you gonna get handled very quickly. Not gonna tolerate it. We're not gonna tolerate the BS. And one of the things I'm proud of is I don't tend to have a chat room loaded with trolls in it. And when the trolls do come in, we monitor them, and once they get out of line, we just got to simply, do what we got to do to get you out of there, just like that. We got Golden Melanin in the house. Thank you for coming over. We got Earl Owens, who's been following me for a long time. We've got Mapper, Ripper, Rock On, Just As Real. Okay. We got Atlantic Creole. The Atlantic Creole Department of Defense saying peace, family. Okay, Atlantic Creole, just want to give you the warning. You're welcome to come over here and join the family over here. Just don't spam, because you did that don't spam the chat room with repeated messages. Can't have that. Because if you repeat messages over and over and over again, that shows me that you're not participating in the chat room and staying on the topic at hand. You're simply just trying to spam the chat room with your personal campaign, and that we can't let that happen here. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not like other channels, so I'm giving you this warning. Okay? And other than that, I want people to speak their mind freely, even if we disagree with people. Just don't be disrespectful. We got Jay Sean is in the house. I got to give that brother the utmost respect and clap here. Everybody definitely say peace to Jay Sean. Jay Shine is a investor in my program. Brother supports me behind the scenes. So he's a brother that contributes to the program behind the scenes, which allows me to continue trying to improve the program. And he's also a YouTuber himself. I've rocked with that brother. I've been on panels with that brother. Very intelligent. And I believe he's in Germany, overseas, a businessman. Definitely a real high value man, if you're going to use that term, high value. And someone I haven't seen in a long time is Hooded Mistress Reloaded. Where have you been? Thank you for coming over. Don't be a stranger. Okay? Just don't be a stranger. We got Cap PY2 who's in the house. And let me see who else I missed. We got CCTV. That brother's in the house. Back to the basics. Unicorn Savage is in the house. Aisha. Some chick named Star, who is a mod in the chat room, doing a wonderful job. Everybody's doing a wonderful job. I'm singling you out because you've done it before, Atlantic Creole Department of Defense. That's why you've done it before, and I've told you before, don't start sending repeated messages. The messages have to stay on point with what we're talking about. That's all I'm asking. That's the only reason why I called you out. I'm not trying to disrespect you. I'm simply saying don't do that. See, this is the problem with us as a people. Some of us as a people. Why can't we respect each other just the way you respect that white man? When you go to his school, when you go to the job, when you're working on his job, why can't we give the same respect to black folks? Why can't we I talked about this on Nappy Yankees channel. Why can't we submit respect to our own people? Huh? Why can't we render that same respect to our own people who are trying to do something? That's all I'm asking. Because I wouldn't come to your channel and repeat things over and over again. That's all the reason why I'm calling you out, because you're the only one I noticed that was doing that before. And we got Nappy Yankee in the house right now. Yeah, I know. Nappy Yankee. I know. I know what it is. I know what it's about because he was over there on your channel doing the same damn thing. All right. We got Ace again saying respect. We got Notorious B in the house. Cap PY2 is in the house. He's a veteran. Everybody, so definitely give Cap some respect. Brother has put it on the line for our freedoms and what have you. We got Mental Ninja in the house saying most can't even respect themselves, let alone someone else. Now, I got to give you a clap on that one because you telling the truth. All right. This is what I'm going to do before I bring people up on a panel to discuss their thoughts about this verdict and any other thoughts. Let me go over to the live feed and see if they're talking about the case. If they moved on to something else, let's just hear a little bit, just a little taste more of this, if you don't mind.
And the state will take a plea just to get rid of the federal charges without having to go through trial. Maybe they can't afford it. That'll be a strategic decision between the parties.
As we just heard, Alexis, from Martin there, they would have to, choose another jury pool. And so much was made out of the just the makeup of this jury, as well as who was dismissed by the defense attorneys who were potential jurors, and whether or not there would be able to be justice with 11 white people, men and women,
11
and
white
one
jurors.
black
That's
man
interesting.
on this juror.
Well, we
And
knew
as
that
you
already,
heard
folks.
From Al Sharpton say
We got
today that
Jada
this
in the
jury
house. What's going
of
on,
11
sister?
white
Greetings,
men and
new
women,
here
one
in the
black man
chat
in the
and
state of
fairly
Georgia
new to the
proves that
channel.
all
Okay.
whites are not
Thank you for being
racist,
here.
all
Subscribe
blacks
and be a
are
part of the
not
family.
worthless. Do you think that
Appreciate you coming
in some
over.
ways attorneys and the media put too much emphasis on the racial composition of a jury when, in fact, it turns out that lots of people can be open-minded and fair-minded?
Yeah, I think it's hard to make generalizations about the verdicts that
I'm going to bring a panel aboard right after I go let them speak here. And then I'm going to bring you guys
my
upstairs.
reaction initially was to 11 white people on a jury and one black person is that this harkens back to jury service in this country. And historically, jury service has been about citizenship. And historically, black people were not deemed as citizens. We have this unbroken thread historically between the way juries used to operate and the way they do now. Those that are likely to not be summoned for juries, much higher percentage of people of color, because jury service is connected to voting rights. And so I think it's hard to make a generalization out of this one case. And I keep returning to the fact that this verdict, the outcome isn't because the system worked. It's really in spite of the system. I think we can all remember that there was multiple months delay in the state even indicting the three men that were responsible for Ahmaud's death. And that it was really in response to national and local activism, local outcry, this video linked. I'm glad that CNN's coverage focused on those in the community. That is why there was an indictment. That is why there was a trial. You had a judge in this case that recognized that the defense was engaged in intentional racial discrimination in the composition, in the selection of that jury. And so it was really remarkable that this jury was able to return the verdicts that they did, because jury diversity matters. There is no shortage of social science research that shows racially diverse juries that have diverse life experiences, they grapple over evidence for a longer period of time. They spend more time looking at the facts, weighing the credibility of witnesses, and then also the chance that they would engage in implicit bias drops when you have diversity on the jury. And so this case, the outcome, I hope it brings comfort. I hope it brings some sort of relief to Ahmaud's family and the community, but I think we have, as a nation, a long way to go until we achieve justice.
President Biden is now reacting to this verdict. Let me read it for you. It says, quote, Ahmaud Arbery's killing, witnessed by the world on video, is a devastating reminder of how far we have to go in the fight for racial justice in this country. Mr. Arbery should be here today, celebrating the holidays with his mother, Wanda Cooper Jones, and his father, Marcus Arbery. Nothing can bring Mr. Arbery back to his family and to his community, but the verdict ensures that those who committed this horrible crime will be punished. While the guilty verdicts reflect our justice system doing its job, that alone is not enough. Instead, we must recommit ourselves to building a future of unity and shared strength where no one fears violence because of the color of their skin. My administration will continue to do the hard work to ensure that equal justice under the law is not just a phrase emblazoned in stone above the Supreme Court, but a reality for all Americans. Laura, your thoughts?
You know, this is a case that has reached the upper echelons of our government for a reason, because it was an instance of such a gross injustice, one that was really just having a visceral, such a demonstration of a lack of humanity for a human being. And I'm glad the President of the United States has weighed in. I'm glad that he recognizes why this is of such importance. But I also, to echo my colleague's sentiment here, it also is an indication just the level of celebration that is coming as a result of this verdict really is indicative of how oftentimes justice has eluded so many people in this country. It has eluded communities of color, and it has eluded in the sense of prosecutors' decisions. It's eluded people in the sense of trying to figure out a way to bring some semblance of justice. And so this really should tell you, as much as people can celebrate the notion that justice in this instance has been achieved in the courtroom, that we do have a long way to go, and the president does, in fact, recognize
for those who marched, those who prayed, most of all the ones who prayed.
Yes, Lord.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, Lord.
Thank you. That now Quez, which you know him as Ahmaud, I know him as Quez.
Yes.
He will now rest in peace.
Hey! Let's get to our Martin Savage. He has covered this trial since it began, and since this
I can't hear you, information man. No sound.
There, I'm here. Sorry about that.
There we go.
All right. What I was saying to everybody while I was muted my damn self, I don't know what's wrong with me, is I put a couple of links downstairs, so everybody who wants to come up is more than welcome to come up and render their thoughts about the verdict. I hope for the panel to be full with lots of people who want to give their thoughts. But let me go with back to the basics. How do you feel, sister? What are your thoughts about the verdict that came down today? What are your thoughts?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go right ahead.
I would say that it's just long overdue. I'm just ready for the sentencing, so they can hang him in the square or do a firing squad or whatever they're gonna do. They don't need an appeal. They don't need anything. So that's how I feel about it.
Let me ask you this question though: were you shocked in any way or surprised? Let me just say that they came down on them with all those counts like that. Now we know Bryant, he got off on a few counts, but there's still going to be federal charges coming down the pipeline. So these guys are going to be finished in show business. But were you surprised, or was it what you were expecting?
I'd have to say I was a little surprised just looking at the makeup of the jury. So it was very interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That I still had my mute on all that whole damn time. I was still muted, and I'm talking like I'm thinking people could hear me. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let's go over to my man, One Man Band, and get his thoughts about this case so far.
Salute to you, information man. Salute to Glorion. Salute to Back to the Basics. And salute to everybody in the chat. Hey, man, I'm happy, man. It's a celebration, man. You know what I'm saying? God is good, man. You know what I'm saying? When they came back with that verdict, I wasn't surprised, man. You know what I'm saying? Because the proof is in the pudding, man. You know what I'm saying? The video that he took, he turned in, and that's the video that ultimately, you know what I'm saying, that ultimately, you know what I'm saying, found all three of them guilty, man. Larry, Curly, and Mo. You know what I'm saying? Go do that time.
Right.
I'm happy, man. I've been covering this, you know what I'm saying? And when the jury got the instructions, I said, man, I can't wait. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't even really sleep all night because I had my TV on court TV all night. You know what I'm saying? Even though I know they were gonna come, you know what I'm saying, in the midst of 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning with the verdict. But I said, when I wake up, it's on and popping, man. I'm glad all three of them, Larry, Curly, and Mo, got found guilty, man.
Yeah, some people were talking about, is it a rush to judgment because these folks want to go back home for their Thanksgiving? But I think it was a pretty cut and dry case. I mean, I think it was pretty obvious that they completely were out of their jurisdiction to do what they did. They went overboard with taking that young brother's life like they did. And the other night I went live and I thought, wow, look at the racism that the defense team is putting out there with the toes and then, all that bullshit they were saying about his long, dirty toes. And I thought, well, maybe that's playing into that jury who maybe, but then now people are saying maybe all of that shit backfired on them big time. And I think like the mother said, because I played her audio, the mother said that because they don't really have a case, they're pulling at straws to do everything they can to make Ahmaud Arbery look bad, or they did try to make him look bad. And that seems to be the playbook when black people are being killed by police or taken out of here by yahoos like that we got to make them look dirty and yucky to win the case. So it's crazy. I appreciate you guys all coming upstairs and being here today. Sister Murray, would you like to render your thoughts about how you feel about how the case went today?
Yes, I do. And I agree with Back to Basics. I was kind of weary on how this thing was going to turn out. But I'm happy with the results. We still have a long fight ahead of us as far as receiving our due justice. And like the fight's not over. So I would like to see how these other cases are going to play out and are we going to continuously receive justice, or is this the justice we're going to get for right now, and then we got to wait years and more dead bodies down the
Tell the
road
truth.
to receive the justice that we deserve? I mean, like, I basically have been following the trials with One Man Band, and to me, I felt a little better when they didn't get their mistrial, because that's what they was really pushing for. They wasn't expecting the prosecution to come as hard as they did. And people can negate, you know, sometimes the prosecution could have objected or whatever, but sometimes let people talk and let them hang themselves. And this is what the defense team did. They hung themselves out the gate. That theory of, oh, he was running, and if he had just stopped, he wouldn't have got shot. And, you know, there were break-ins all this week and burglaries. When in the opening of this trial, the first responder, the officer who was the first responder, said in that particular area, there's a very low crime area. They hardly get calls of burglaries and things of that nature. So then the defense had to scramble with all this. This person was calling in on a suspicious person, and this person was calling in for a burglary. All that should have came out in the beginning. Basically, they shot themselves in the foot, and I'm happy of the outcome.
Right. Let me say this. I'm looking in the chat room, and Brother Jones, he said he was glad that those comments came out, because, and I'm gonna be honest with you too, as much as I don't like those kind of comments, I actually feel that we need to hear really how people really feel about us, so that we can get a shock of reality that things have not gotten to this so-called utopia, right? I think like, for example, I'm in California. To me, racism is all over this country. Now, if you go back east in the South, you get direct racism, right? Racists will tell you straight up, they don't like you. This is, you know where they stand. Living in California, because they say that we're so integrated and we're such this liberal place. Folks, it ain't as liberal as you think it is. Maybe in some of our politics, right? But people will smile in your face and act like you're their friend, that they like you, that they're not racist, but they're doing everything behind the scenes to destroy you. I think that's more dangerous racism, because it's covert. I think the racism that you see in the Deep South, in a place like Brunswick, I think we need that cold reality pill of, I want to see my racists. I want to know just how they feel, where they stand, because then you know where you stand and how you're going to move and navigate in that type of environment. That's how I see it. So I have to agree with Brother Jones that, hey, let them fly off at the mouth and let you know exactly how they think. What do you think about that One Man Band?
What'd you say, sir?
I was saying, you know how how racism in certain parts of the country can be covert, where you have people that smile in your face, but they backstabbing you, right? They're really racist, but they'll act like they're friendly. We have a lot of that in California. Whereas in other parts of the country, let's say the Deep South, for example, you kind of know where your racists stand, because they'll come out and just display their racism. I personally think that we need to see people, whether we like it or not, display their racism, so that we know where they stand and where we stand in this environment that we're in, because we got a lot of people who will cloak themselves, right? As like, oh, I'm not racist, I'm not this, or I'm not that. I want to see what people really are. Are you there, brother?
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah, the sound was going in and out. You know what, man?
I think it's your connection, brother. But go ahead.
I've been in the Department of Corrections, man. People don't know what that is. That's prison. And I did 12 years, man. So I've been around people that'll let you know, hey, I don't mess with your kind. You know what I'm saying? I'm racist. I respect them more than the people that be hiding in the closet, you know what I'm saying, knowing that they racist, you know what I'm saying? But they act like you said, they act like they cool with you, man. So we just gotta watch we just gotta watch who we talk to. We gotta watch who we interact with, man. You know what I'm saying? And I hope that people, realize, with this trial, man, that hey, man, we all need to come together, man. You know what I'm saying? As black people, you know what I'm saying, and love one another, man. But that goes without saying. It's kind of hard right now, but once again, man, I'm glad those 3 clowns got found guilty, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy about that, bro. I ain't even gonna lie.
Right. I'll clap to that, brother. Clap to that. Let me ask back to the basics. I know you've been around the world. You've been in the military. What is your thoughts about what I just said? Would you rather just see people lay their racism cards on the table for you to see versus someone who's convert? They're being very sneaky.
I'd have to say that just lay your cards down. I grew up in a mostly Caucasian environment, so there's a lot of covert and when I did it. Yeah, there's a lot of subtle. You'll get the people following you around thinking you're gonna steal something, or you get the looks and the stares. I mean, just come right out and just say exactly what it is. I used to be on the Rainbow Coalition and everything like that, but there is really no black brown coalition. I had to learn that through personal experience, and I'm glad that I did, and I'm thankful for my journey. But just don't be fake with it. You don't like what a person looks like or how they carry themselves for whatever reason. Then just stay away.
Right. I hear what you're saying. Let me say peace and respect to Baba Rashan. We got the elder in the house, y'all, ladies and gentlemen. That's my man. That's my brother over there. The elder. I gotta get you on the platform again, brother, so we can chop it up again. But the elder's in the house. I'm pretty sure he's happy about the verdict, and he'll be popping his bubblies tonight. But once again, we do have to see what the sentencing is. But I just think the sentencing is just a formality. These dudes are cooked. And brother, one man band, when you talk about the correctional environment, I counsel and deal with guys in the correctional environment on a mental health level, and I see a lot of things that go on. And definitely these dudes are going to need to be PC'd up every step of the way. They're going to need all types of protections. Now, the question is, are they going to put these guys in a country club environment, or are they going to really put them in their real deal element? I wonder, because they're going to have a target on their back with some of the folks of our complexion, of our like, who not going to be too happy to see them. Let me put, we have a new guest that just came on board. Brother Rashad, I'm glad you came over, brother. Stick around, Elder. And Elder, if you want to come upstairs, hit the link and come on up and join us. We got the Mental Ninja, if I'm saying that correct. Thank you. You made a good comment in the chat room that I read too earlier, brother. Would you like to render your thoughts?
Yeah, what I'm saying? I'm not gonna, I'm glad, in a way that the guy got convicted and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, kind of this is a public display, for individuals like, oh, see, they're getting things done. That's one situation that they put on TV.
Right.
They ain't putting all the situations on TV.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And, as far as the public racism thing, I kind of believe, I'm a military brat myself, so I lived all over the world, and I didn't know about racism, so I was in the 2nd grade, and I came back to the States. They had to tell me what it was, and I never heard anybody call anybody else the N-word that was black until I was in the 6th grade. So I'm taught about this stuff. It's not something that's inherent. You don't see racist babies in the you know what I'm saying, in the daycare and stuff. We're taught that stuff. So I feel at the same time that even with the Ahmaud Arbery thing, that there's still continuation of this idea. Is it really racism is more idealism than it is anything else, because it's all one human race. You know what I'm saying? And this stuff has to be taught to people. People don't
Right, because if I'm not mistaken, good brother, The race is a social construct. If many of us were living thousands of years ago, we would not. I mean, whether people like this or not, it's the truth. If we were living thousands of years ago, many of us of this skin tone would not be walking around calling ourselves black. We would be identifying with a geological location and a particular tribe. So we would be calling ourselves by very different names. The social construct was designed to really put people in a box. Now, that doesn't mean that as a people, we're not unique, because we are very unique. But a lot that we have grown up with in American society and just in general, we have been culturally conditioned to identify with certain aspects of who we think we are. Now, when we look at the word black, we know that black is really a color. Does it really speak to who we are as a person? Our identity? Well, for some of us, it is our identity, because that's what we've been. We've been from me calling a nigga to a negro to colored to now we call ourselves black. But then in other parts of the world, people who look like us may not see that concept. So we all look at who we are based on our worldview and where we live at. Right? Brothers and sisters in the continent, they have a different worldview based on where they are and where they live and the culture that they grew up in. Let me just say this, because I know there's going to be some naysayers out there talking about y'all celebrating like it's no, we're celebrating this particular situation. I'm not going to sit up here and think that all of a sudden that the justice or the injustice system has reformed itself. This is one instant that I'm recognizing as, okay, it went our way, or it appears to have gone our way, but it does not make up for the ills of what has happened in yesteryears. And it does not say to me that the justice system in this injustice system in this country is operating at a balanced level completely. But in this case, it did turn out in the right direction. Mento Ninja, you have anything else you want to say before I bring Jade in?
No, go ahead, bro.
All right. Hey, I appreciate you coming up too, and what have you. Jade, if I'm saying the name right, welcome to the platform. You have anything you wanna render?
Yes, I do. First of all, greetings to you and everyone on the panel. Greetings to your chat.
Thank you
for welcoming me up. I actually had to take a phone call. I had just sent a private message.
Okay.
But I did. It's okay. I did want to speak on a couple of different things. So if you can just give me a hot moment to finish up on this call, I'll be right back. I apologize to everybody.
All right, no problem at all. No problem at all. Let me see. Let me go back over to back to the basics, and then I'm gonna go swing it back over to one man band. Back to the basics. How did it make you feel? Because I didn't have a chance to hear your thoughts on this. How did it make you feel when the defense team had the audacity to focus on black pastors, and particularly the horrible statement that was said about Ahmaud Arbery, toes, and all this sort of stuff that had nothing to do with what they did to him, shooting him 3 times. And as the mother said, they never talked about the hole that they put in his chest, but they talking about toes. How did it make you feel? Back to the basics.
You know, can you still hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
You're fine.
As a ordained minister, I was really offended, more so for that statement with the toenails. That was just so dehumanizing. And it really made me sort of go back, because this has been done before with all of the different cartoons and characters with the black face and the lips that you had mentioned. Very dehumanizing. Even when you look at some of those silent films of how like treacherous and monstrous, it just was very dehumanizing. That was where my mind went. And I'm like, well, what time is it? I thought this was the 21st century, not, we're going backwards. It just, with that type of mentality. As far as the black pastor comment, I mean, that was just racist. Oh, we don't need any more Black pastors in there. And I'm thinking, so, okay,
Right.
so they should be able to have whoever they want to come in there and sit with the family. I didn't know that now, like I said, they better be glad I wasn't in there, because they would have had to have the
Right.
bailiff and everything up on there
Right.
with me. I said, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, right. Here is a reminder right here, folks.
Obviously, there's only so many pastors they can have. And if their pastor's Al Sharpton right now, that's fine, but then that's it. We don't want any more black pastors coming in here, or other Jesse Jackson, whoever was in here earlier this week, sitting with
Yeah, that's the bullshit right there.
Ridiculous.
And then I had a chance to look at, and I had played some of that. I had played some of that earlier with Cuomo last night on CNN, where that idiot defense lawyer tried to justify why he said what he said. And Cuomo is a lawyer and stuff. He said, that what you said, you had no right to say it in a court of law. That meaning it's a public place. And then this is the thing that they try to say. This is what happens, folks. Whenever police officers are accused of taking our life, what do? They stack the court with police officers who will show up to court, and they'll be all up in the courtroom, and nobody says, hey, all these police officers in here out of uniform or in uniform. A lot of them show up out of uniform. Hey, they're going to intimidate. That's intimidating. You don't hear that, but they do. Whenever it's one of their peers on trial, they'll come out there in droves and support. But when black people are in support now, it's a problem. Just like they were saying in this trial when it ended, that there was all this talk about black people being armed. There was such a concern for black people being armed, yet you hear very little concern when white folks arm themselves in this society. It's them bearing their arms and their own rights to do so. When we bear the arms, now it becomes a monster picture. It becomes oh God, it's going to be a riot. See, this country is very concerned about black folks having the right to arm themselves. Very much so. Let me see here.
I agree.
Go ahead, Sister Murray.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I'm not going to stay up here too much longer. I'm going to go back into the chats, but I live in New York, and NYPD, and unfortunately I have to work with them and whatever. I'm subscribed to like a lot of channels and stuff like that, and one of the content creators said something that has always stuck in my mind, and this is going back to George Floyd. He made the comment, you have to understand that as oppressed people, we are asking and pleading with our oppressors to give us justice. So don't be surprised or shocked when your oppressor says no. Remember, they're oppressing you. So it's, again, getting back to your earlier question, I said before, I'd rather know a true racist than a phony friend. And what we also have to realize within our own community is that they can only get away with what we do to each other. So let's try to, can unify our community as a whole, because our community as a whole doesn't see things on a united front. But what I am saying is, because I've dealt with both sides of the spectrum. I'm from the South myself, and I live in New York, and I've been in New York close to almost 30 years. And where I received from the mayonnaise people down south, I had to deal with that same mentality from my fellow own. So the fight is against them, but also the fight is within ourselves as well. And remember, when we go to our oppressor, give us justice. Don't be surprised when you do not get it. And that's one of the harsh realities of life. But like I said, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Let me ask you this question. It's pertaining to what you just said. Because you said you lived in the South, you lived in the East Coast, or you're in the East Coast now. Do you see a difference in the mentality of how racism is dealt out in the South versus how it is in the North, because I've been under this impression, because I've been in all those places, that it's in your face and direct. The people don't, if they're racist in the South, they don't give a damn. They're going to let you know they don't give a damn about you. In the West Coast, it's more this, hi, how you doing? But really they don't give it. They don't like you. In the East Coast, what is your take on it? Because you're living in the East Coast now. What's your take?
I agree. Down south is more in your face. They will let you know. I will say that in the East Coast, it's more in your face in certain situations, especially when it comes to the police. But in the corporate world, it's more hidden. They use more excuses not to promote you under BS guidelines than, okay, we just won't promote you because you're black, or we don't want you in our field of expertise because you're black. It's more convert, or it's more hidden. I'm sorry, I used the word. It's more hidden. Now, when you come to the upfront in your faces, it depends on where you live up here than on an economic level. Like if you try to move to certain places up here that is predominantly Mayo, they will make their voices heard. We don't want you here. Okay. And that's just what I've experienced.
Okay, because I have family in Baltimore, Maryland, a lot of family there. I was actually born in Baltimore. And one time I was visiting my uncle some years back, and I'm outside. You know how they have row houses in Baltimore and you have the little patio outside. So I'm in the patio, kicking back, relaxing, taking in the scenery. And it's funny how you got an all black city, but the majority of the police are white. And of course they wear those white uniforms, white shirts, and right. It looks like something out of the goddamn South. And of course, Baltimore is the most southern northern state in the Dixie line, right? So I'm on the porch minding my own business, and they came up, walking up on me. And somebody I guess they was looking for somebody that robbed somebody or did some type of crime. And of course, I got pointed at. So the police come upstairs, sir. Do you live here? Where are you from? And I'm on my uncle's porch, just chilling. Of course, he wasn't home at that time. I was occupying the household. I'm like, ain't this a bitch? They come walking up on me, and they both had them Baltimore. I don't know if they changed their uniforms, but they got them white shirts in Baltimore, looking like something out of the damn South. And it was two white officers. Talking about, sir, we'd like to question you about a few things, whereabouts and what. I'm like, well, sir, I'm not from here. Actually, I'm from out of town. And they just probably thought, oh, this Negro lying. So I show them my ID. You should have saw how big their eyes got when they saw that big old CAL Collie. And they was like, uh-oh. This Negro don't fit the description because the person we're looking for, they live in Baltimore, right? And they asked me, so I gave them the ID. They say, well, what are you doing here on the porch?
Yep.
I said, first of all, this is my uncle's house, and I'm here visiting from California, and I'm sitting down here relaxing. Got the keys to the house. What's the issue? So, of course, they realized that I wasn't the Negro that they was looking for, even though they think we all look alike.
Yep.
Right? So eventually they left. But basically what happened to me, ladies and gentlemen, is that I got profiled.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And I believe if I had not had the ID and some of the things that proved that I was there visiting and I had the key, that they probably would have took me on in those white shirts in Baltimore, Maryland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn shame
is right. I've had a lot of experiences that I have yet to even talk about on these YouTube streets. So when I have the attitude that I have, it comes from my own personal experience. I've had some experience with police that I do not care to have had the experience of, unfortunately. Let me go back over to the mental ninja if he wants to add anything to the discussion so far.
And information man, I'm
yes.
getting ready to drop down.
Okay. I appreciate you coming upstairs though. You know how it is.
I know. Thank you, hon.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you. And giving you a clap there. Thank you for coming up and joining us. Mental Ninja, you have anything you want to add further?
Yeah, like I live like I'm a military brat. I lived all over the world, all over the nation, all kind of stuff, right?
Oh wow. Wow.
Yeah, I've seen like, I didn't know it was racism in Korea, but basically it wasn't even racism. It was like the Koreans just didn't like Americans being there, period. You know what I'm saying? I was like, kindergarten, first, second grade, when I see that. And they used to tear gas and run up in the base and pull the flag. The students would and burn that, but they were like, that was more of a political, issue than it was like any direct color, because Koreans come like kind of like us. They come from dark all the way to like super pale, like cream. You know what I'm saying? But what I've noticed myself is like in the South, when I lived in St. Pete, Florida for like 8 years, right? From like 2008, about 7-8 years until 2015, 2016. And like, the white people really weren't racist to me, but yeah, the blacks, we were hella racist. It was crack of this, crack of that, crack of this, crack of that, crack of that. I mean, it was like overtly, you know what I'm saying? And I've seen many instances where, oh, fuck that shit, cracker, fuck you, cracker, like that. It was like just out, you know what I'm saying?
Well, let me ask you something, brother. We're going to have to examine this a little bit here. See, this is the thing that we have to understand. There's something called prejudice, and then there's something called racism. And the problem is that we conflate the two and we get them mixed up, because racism is a power dynamic. Prejudice means anybody, whether you have power or not, can say, hey, I don't like that person because they got red shoes, or I don't like that person because they're Asian. You may not like them, but you don't have any power to do anything to disrupt their life and their ability to have pursuit for happiness, right? In equality. Racism is a power dynamic in which you have the ability not only to say, I don't like this person because they're white, black, or Asian, or any other race, but not only do I have the power not to like them, but I have the power to keep them out of education, jobs, military access, economic access, institutions of power in this society. And I also control those institutions, which I can use at my whim to manipulate where they go in life. That's why you have 54% of black people who get turned down for business loans from the bank, when they already have a existing business that they're trying to expand, where white people only get turned down at 24%. So sometimes we got to keep them out. Yeah, black people, we can say cracker this, mayonnaise people this, all that kind of stuff all we want. But let's be honest. How much power, sir, and everybody on the panel, how much power do black men and black women have other than our words that we may say towards, let's say, white people, for whatever the reasons are? How much power do we have to actually impact their life politically, socially, in this society? How much power do we have? What institutions do we control where we can say, hey, I don't want any white people moving in my neighborhood, so we're going to gentrify their ass out of the neighborhood. We're going to redline them out of the neighborhood. We're going to make sure that nobody sells to them. Give me an example where, and I'm not trying to be nasty here and nothing like that, but I'm just asking this question for the sake of name the power that we have to inflict upon any group in this society other than our words.
I mean, like this is like, so you brought that up, like racism versus prejudice. Like white, the 70% are not racism. They are prejudiced due to racism being promulgated in the society. Now, in a marketing capitalist corporate society, which is about supply and demand and basically consumerism, if 70%, roughly 70% of your population is Caucasian, you're going to want to cater to them. You create fear, supply of fear, and demand of safety, and demand of, and a supply of safety for the dominant people. If it were, and you see the exact flip in the black population. So when when someone like niggas like, oh, crack of this, crack of that, yeah, that's prejudice, right? Racism is a system. That's why it has the word ism. It's a mental system, like alcoholism. You know what I'm saying? Feudalism, capitalism is a system of thought. So like, what power do we have? Like, well, collectively, I mean, we might not have any power at all if we're looking for it's like this collective, movement that happen all at once. Everybody gets like this bug in their head and like programming and stuff. But individually, there's always power and stuff. And 9 times out of 10, the best thing would be refuse to participate in the consumerism state. So when she said like our oppressor, it kind of gave me chills in my back, because like, nigga, I ain't got no oppressor. I'm not going to accept the claim of no oppressor and stuff. Any oppressor is going to be living. It's going to be me and my own actions over myself. Right. And the idea of, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think what happens is that, let's just say this. We know that racism exists. We know that institutional racism has run rapid historically within this country, right? We know that from history, there was I know some people on YouTube want to debate whether slavery and all that kind of stuff existed. But the fact of the matter is, we know that there are things that have happened in history. They're historical facts that we can't get around. Now we can say, hey, we were slaves. No, slavery was a condition. That doesn't mean I am a slave. So it's about adapting a mentality. My thing is, okay, we know that there's conditions in the society that will try to jump in our way, but we have to condition ourselves to the mentality that no matter what those conditions are, I will not succumb to those conditions. So I'm not going to say that someone is going to be my oppressor. I'm not going to let them oppress me, even though they may be trying to oppress me. I want to figure out how I can rip through their attempt to try to hold me back from achieving what I have to do. However, we do need to realize that Black people in America, we don't control the institutions in this society that can be used to cripple us economically. We have to recognize that, and we have to come together collectively. That's why cooperative economics is so important, because every other group is doing it, right? Asian people came here and they realized these people are trying to oppress us, so we have to not allow that mentality to take us over. So what they do, they created their own communities, banks, and so on and so forth. However, of course, they didn't get the treatment that we got historically, where their language and culture got ripped from them. I'm not saying this to say that this should be crutches for us to use to say we can't achieve anything. I'm just saying there's a set of circumstances that we have to rip through. People who think that they're better than us. And there's some of us that think that we're better than other people, but we can think that we're better than people all day long. What power do we have to impact other people's lives from their pursuit of happiness? Very good points though, brother.
One thing I want to bring up is if we're going to look at it, do we have power to affect the Caucasian or whatever that word really means?
Yeah, you know what? 70%. This is where we do have. This is the only power this is where we do have power. Let me go back. We showed in the 1960s with the boy buscots and all the things that our ancestors did, that the one thing that white society will succumb to is when you hurt them in the pocketbook economically. You stop spending money with them. You stop buying into their system, even though we're in it. So economically is where we've always historically in our past, and we know this, all of you read books and Eyes on the Prize, economically is where we've always had the power to be able to hurt them, because we are very big consumers in this society. So that's one aspect, but we can continue, examining that. But see, the legal system which Arbery's family was put under, I got to be honest, they were at the legal system's becking when. That when was the hope that they would go in there, those 11 jurors that were white, that they would go in there and not display their prejudice towards the black man and not come back with that verdict they came back with. But this is the thing. I think it's a shame that you had one black man on that jury or one black woman on that jury. And I don't know if it's because they purged black people off or the population, there's not enough black people in that community, or if it's because some of our people don't want to be on juries. I talked about that the other night, how we do need to infiltrate ourselves into these jury pools so that we can do the same things that they've been doing to us for years. Let me go over to
let me say something real quick, because I gotta roll.
Yes,
real
sir.
Quick. One thing I did notice, I was kind of like, damn, what's up with that? Is like the Kyle Rittenhouse took precedent over the Ahmaud Arbery thing, like through the algorithms. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of black people are mad that Kyle Rittenhouse killed 2 white people. You know what I'm saying? And for me, it's kind of like, well, this is what could be displayed, like what could be like being shown through this whole thing is like, well, defending on one side, you can't just run up and kill people because you think they're committing a crime. On the Ahmaud Arbery side, right? On the Kyle Rittenhouse side, you can defend yourself. But the thing is, there's an element of black on the Kyle Rittenhouse things, the Black Lives Matter movement, which is supposed to be a new historical black protesting stage.
Right.
Right.
But remember, Black Lives Matter, my brother, has been infiltrated. I don't even look at it as Black Lives Matter as it was supposed to be. It's been infiltrated by people who want to project their sexual orientation. It's been infiltrated by white folks who all of a sudden have grown a conscience. And then we got white folks in that Black Lives Matter who are actually provocateurs, meaning they're agents. But just like you saw over the past summer, a lot of those white folks out there with those black shirts on, they weren't really members of Black Lives Matter. They were infiltrators trying to create problems. So Black Lives Matter, as far as I'm concerned, is already a damaged organization, and which is supposed to be about what happened to black men. And when you go to their website, they're talking about all this sexual orientation stuff, and there's very little talk about black men. And so that organization, to me, has already been infiltrated. It's already damaged. On this point, I want to say about the Kyle Rittenhouse, brother. Although there were black people out there that didn't like that he killed 3 white people, let's keep this in mind, brother. There was a lot of black people like myself who it wasn't about him killing white people. We were looking at the case to see how would they treat a young white boy who came into an environment with a weapon that he should not have had without parental guidance, because I looked at their laws. He did not have parental guidance. We witnessed how the judge showed favoritism, didn't allow the prosecution to bring in key evidence like this one, brother, that a lot of people have forgotten. They said that Kyle didn't put that gun on people that night. Bullshit. There were 2 brothers that night that he pulled that gun on, that he tried to play medic with, and they were like, wait a minute, man, you were just pointing a gun at us. And they didn't let that into the court as another evidence of his bullshit, on top of the fact that the car business said they never asked for him or his merry band of fools to even be there guarding their business. So they tried to make Kyle look like this innocent little white kid, yet they made Trayvon Martin, who was shot by a man who was not a cop, had no authority as a night watchman. They let Trayvon Martin get no justice in Florida because they had stand your ground laws in Florida, and they never said anything about Trayvon Martin having the right to stand his ground. He dies, doesn't get any goddamn justice. Kyle Rittenhouse gets justice, even though there was all kind of flaws in the case. The prosecution ran a terrible case, I would admit, but Kyle Rittenhouse wasn't this innocent dude that night. Why would you bring a weapon into a hostile environment thinking that people would not be sort of triggered by you walking around with a gun? And he pointed it at 2 black men, and nobody talked about that. Black people were upset about that case because we said, damn it, if that would have been a black youngster, everybody would have been saying, what's wrong with the black community? Where's the black father? Where's the black mother? See, he had to drop off. He don't want to deal with that truth.
Tell the truth.
I'm going to stop right there on my tirade. Thank you for coming upstairs, brother. I know you said you had to leave. But truth sometimes can make people leave too. Shit. All right. We've got Jade and we got Sister. I can never say your name correct. Marchesas. Say your name for us, Sister.
Hi, Information Man. You're so funny.
Say your name.
I'm supposed to be working, so I might jump in and out. So I apologize for that in advance. But my name is Mara Sharice.
Mara Sharice. I got it down packed now. Mara Sharice. Now I got it down packed. Go ahead.
So I'm loving the conversation as always, and I wasn't actually going to come upstairs, but I wanted to have a conversation because if anyone knows my history, I'm a New Yorker native, born here, live here all my life. My parents are from the USVI, both of them. So they're American, but they're not somewhat, right? And there's a conversation about what covert racism is and what overt racism is.
Okay.
And I think we need to stop having that conversation because it's all racism.
Okay.
I didn't get called the N-word until I was big and grown and went to the South.
Okay.
But I've lived in racism all my life. You don't have to use the words. You don't have to beat me over the head with you're this, you're that to feel racism.
Okay.
I grew up in a, with middle class parents, but had to live in basically what was the ghetto in the South Bronx. Why? Because that's where Black people lived. That's racism.
Right.
The school I had to go to was where all the Black kids and Hispanic kids went.
That's true in New York. You're absolutely right.
Right? That's racism. The way our districts are cut. And, you don't know we didn't know who our district lead for representatives was until it became like a progressive movement and OAC came in here. I'd never seen that white man in my life. That's racism. Right? So I think we need to stop with the overt covert difference because the racism in the North is what funds the racism in the South.
Right.
So we have what wealthy racism looks like.
Right. I think the reason why I bring that, see, remember, wherever we live at in this country, we gain a different perspective. So I've lived in California for years, and sometimes people who don't live here, they get told by media that California is this super liberal place, right? And I'm here to tell you, once you get outside, I lived in San Francisco for over 30 years, went to college there. I've been to LA, Oakland. Once you leave out of LA, out of San Francisco, out of places like Oakland, San Jose, these kind of major cities in California, once you get outside of these areas, California can be as country looking as being in someplace like Alabama. When you get on some of these back roads in California and you go up north, going towards Humboldt County, where everybody likes the marijuana up there. I've been up, you go up to these little places in these back roads, you'll be like, damn, am I in California still? And then you get to encounter, one time I got a friend, he went into a town in California where he went into a store. They had Nazi memorabilia.
Oh, yeah.
And they were looking at him like, what the hell are you doing here? And he said, once he really scoped the neighborhood, he said, damn, there's not a Black person in sight. And these people look rough. And it was some racist little hickey town here in California. Oh, yeah. And so I think a lot of times we judge California and even places like New York by the city, which are more, multi-racial makeups of people. And we assume, that's how the whole damn state is. Hell no. Once you leave, like Atlanta, you leave Atlanta, Georgia, and you start going into those other backwoods. Oh, my God.
Not even Atlanta, but the metro, that one little spot.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
That one little spot. I remember when I have friends that come here from the South all the time because my family's all over. My family's in the islands, and then a lot of my family married ate us, so we're all mixed up. Even some Native Americans, right? So we're all like a little bag of Blackness over here. So
right.
They came up and they were like, let's go out and do this. And I said, well, you're gonna encounter things that you aren't gonna be ready for. Because when you go into the city, you're gonna meet people from Long Island. And they don't know what people from Long Island or Staten Island are like.
Wow.
And those are our real those are the people that I live in right now in the Bronx near Yankee Stadium. So most Yankee fans the majority of them are like Long Islanders, Staten
Mm-hmm.
Islanders. They're really, really white, right?
Right.
Like when the game is on, they have police that actually protect them. You think they protect us?
Hell no.
Right? They cut off the street and the police actually stand there and protect them. And when I tell you they're rowdy, they're beating on each other, they're throwing up, they're
Right.
throwing glasses. The police are just watching.
This is the thing that's crazy, sister. We got to get out of this mentality that all black people, that the word ghetto and all of this stuff is synonymous with black people. When I was in Baltimore some years ago, another story, folks, I was with my uncle, and maybe people from B-More may know this neighborhood. I don't know if the neighborhood's been gentrified out, has been changed or not, but we were driving through this neighborhood and he said, roll up your windows.
Yeah.
And I looked and I said, damn, it's all white people. And they were the roughest looking. He said, this is a neighborhood that you don't want to be in. It's a white ghetto. Yeah. And I said, God damn it. Because in California, living in California, we don't see that readily like that. Right. And I'm like, I looked and I said, damn. He said, you don't want to be in this neighborhood, son.
Yeah, that's why I never fall into the trap of blaming immigrants for things. I said if black people in this country are 13 to 16% of the population, right? Mm-hmm. And immigrants are maybe 1 or 2%.
Yeah.
Then all of these issues that we have, pulling from the system, quote unquote, feeding from the system, quote unquote, are poor white people. They're not the immigrants. So I don't want to have a conversation about immigrants pulling from a system that they don't put into. When the majority of people pulling from a system in welfare, taking benefits, don't have, and a lot of them, because I work with immigrant communities, right. A lot of them don't even have paperwork to get those programs. So what the hell are we talking about? And
the truth of the matter is,
we provide things.
Right. The truth of the matter is that white people have been the biggest beneficiaries of the welfare system. Mm-hmm. When Roosevelt put in the New Deal, the New Deal didn't benefit black people in America. Matter of fact, the whole system, the way it was set up, the welfare system, black people didn't even go and apply for any of that stuff back in that time because they knew they weren't getting it. It was all designed for white people. But then over time, they made black people the face of the welfare system. Particularly you remember the bag lady image that they put on black women. All these sort of things that they've used in this country, and I'm going to say it again. Racism is. I'm going to say it again. Racism has a power dynamic to it, and I think people need to understand that it has a power dynamic. Yeah, black people, we could say that we don't like different ethnic groups. We could be nasty towards them. We can beat them up, all of that. But I have no power as far as institutional wide to say, wake up tomorrow and say, you know what? I want to make sure that I build an all black community. And I'm going to make sure that I can keep every other group, particularly white people, out of my neighborhood, exclusive to myself. That's a nice neighborhood. And I can do it to them through the institutions. Right. No black person in America has that ability to execute that and say no white person can go wrong. Hell, if you look at our black historical colleges, white folks go to those schools, and there's been no case of discrimination against black people at those schools because we know we can't do it. Now, has there been a case?
I had a big uproar on Twitter a couple of weeks back. About, because I had studied, because I'm a learned person. I read a lot, and I studied.
And Jay Dunn, I'm coming to you, Jay Dunn. Don't worry.
Yeah, I studied a lot of the history of a lot of those schools. So specifically, Howard, I wanted to find out why is this particular school seen in this great light that it's seen, and how did it start? Who started it? And I went down this rabbit hole, and I realized that it was started to pull up certain black people. And that kind of brings me to a point that the gentleman that dropped off when you started speaking that truth, was
And
talking about.
he had to go away.
Tell the truth.
Because
Nah, he did say he had to go. So peace to that brother if he's out there listening still.
because
Go ahead, sister.
whiteness, as it's been laid out, is about assimilation and about promoting the power in itself. So certain groups, because whiteness started with the English, right? And then certain groups became white. So the French, the Spanish, the Irish was really hard for them to become white. The Italian, really hard for them to become white. The Polish. So it started bringing in other groups to build on this power dynamic
Right.
of whiteness.
Well, what happened is Europeans were fighting each other in Europe. They realized, what the hell are we fighting each other for when we should come together? Because remember, most of them were part of the Germanic tribes, right? German, they really come from Germans. They just speak different languages, but they realized, why are we fighting each other when we could come together? So, and then they decided, you know what? We got these dark race of people over here on this continent. It's got lots of riches. Let's go mess with them. Crazy shit like that.
But I think the key that kind of brings you back to what the brother was talking about, and him not experiencing things, is that assimilation and promoting never stopped.
Right. You're absolutely right about that.
They started, to your point about the Chinese, they tried to pull them in and make the Chinese white, and the Chinese fought back. Right. So they still got a lot of privileges, but they didn't actually want to ever become white. So they kind of pushed that out. They're actually doing it with certain Hispanics right now. So the Cubans that are here, most of them that defected are white and rich Cubans. Right. So they're bringing them into whiteness. The only, and people like, oh, they can't never bring, black people into whiteness. And I said, why can't they? There's certain black people that do not know the history. And that brings back to the brother who, I have people in my family like that grew up in the islands that don't understand the history, haven't been here long enough, didn't read the books, didn't go to Saturday school like I did. My thing
I would say is that people should try to take the chance to read the history. And if you don't know something, just go try to research it and talk to people who have been immersed in the culture and then research it. Just like, for example, when it comes to Africa, history in different African countries or the history in the Caribbean, I'm not going to sit up here and act like I know that. I'm going to go to someone who's from the culture who can teach me a thing or two, or bring them on the channel, which is a good idea. I think I'm going to do something like that. Bring them on the channel and have them talk about these things so that we don't get this misinformation about different cultures that we don't really have a good grasp of. So let me do this here. I don't mean to cut you off. Let me shout out a few people, shout out some folks in the chat room, and then I got to let Jay Dunn speak her piece before I conclude today. Sister, I thank you for coming up here and saying what you have to say. But before I call out people in the chat room, because I didn't mean to not let you finish your point. If you didn't finish your point, continue with where you left off at. I'm sorry.
No, I have just one last point. I'll make it quick. When I talk about assimilation didn't stop. So there are still certain members of the black community that they are trying to assimilate into whiteness.
Yes, that's true.
And there are certain immigrant groups that are brought here, very capitalistic minded, very patriarchal minded, that they think that they can pull into whiteness. And you'll see them talking on our behalf. And there are certain groups that did not grow up in the United States, that come from, they're American, but they grew up in Europe, they grew up in Asia, and they come into the U.S. and they don't have the history, they don't have the background, and they're pulled into whiteness. They grew up in very white towns, so they don't see what we see. So we need to be very careful when we allow people to speak for us without our experience. And I say this to the person that has family who I have to educate very often about the difference between a Black American and a Black person in America.
Ooh, man, that's solid. That's solid.
And
wow,
we have to be really careful because there's a lot of, and you'll see them, they're like, some of them are Nigerian, you'll see them and they'll pop up and they'll make these statements about this country not being racist and about them not experiencing racism. They are experiencing it, but they're experiencing it from the inside. They can't see it. They can't see the forest for the trees because they're not experiencing someone that has the knowledge behind it. And once they do, all of a sudden it becomes a different story. Like, we had to educate Brother Emmanuel about marijuana and why marijuana is called marijuana and not called cannabis, which is what it is. And that in itself is racist. When we talked about our running sister, because he was saying that there's no racism involved in that. That's just rules. And we said the fact that you're calling marijuana alone is racist. The fact that the things that are on that list that are much more addictive are okay, but this is not, is racist. And you don't understand the history of why marijuana became racist and became a lynch point in this country. And you need to talk to people before you start telling, oh, she just followed the rules and everything will be fine. We don't do that. We talk to each other before we go and talk out.
Right.
If you have a question, you talk to Black people first. You get clear, and then you speak. You don't speak on behalf of Black people when you haven't talked to us first.
Right. I got to give you a clap on that.
Tell the truth.
That's on the money.
That's
on the money.
As always, thank you so much for what you do. Because I wouldn't even know the verdict was today if you didn't pop up.
Yeah. Well, I've got the time. I don't normally, you guys probably notice that I don't often go live during the week because like y'all, I have a profession that I'm involved in. And so that's why I tend to be more of a weekend type of streamer. But because I got the time, I said, no, I'm going to be right on top of this. And my timing was right on time. I was like, man, I was right in the middle of it, in the thick of it. So I was happy. A lot of people came over to hear that verdict and just to see what Info was doing here. So thank you, sister, for coming over. And I hope to see you back over here for other panels and discussions that I have
always
on the channel. Oh, no problem. I'm going to give you another clap again.
I appreciate all of you.
Okay, I appreciate you too. Appreciate you. Let me do this before I go over to Jay Dunn. I want to holler out and shout out some people in the chat room because people have been really rocking pretty heavy over here. We got Brenda Johnson in the house. Peace to you, Brenda Johnson. Here we go. We got Yalfi is in the house. Yalfi, thank you. Says, yes, my Nigerian friends have done this, but now know the truth. That's fantastic. We got Dominique Jones. Okay, we got back to the basics that came back up here. Brother Jones is in the house still. And we got the number one grinder is in the house. And we got my brother from the Netherlands, Jay East Music. And who do we have here coming? Oh, the beautiful sister there. She's fantastic. She was just on the panel a few minutes ago. And we got Roberto is here. And he says, God bless Kyle Rittenhouse. Okay, Roberto, you got to get the hell on out of here. Just get on out of it. I don't have time for your trolling. If you say anything again. Matter of fact, block this son of a you-know-what out of here right now immediately, folks. Get his ass out of here. I don't have time for that. Just get him out of here. I don't want to hear the bullshit. I've already did a video on Kyle Rittenhouse. We already know that Kyle Rittenhouse got off and everything like that. I'm not going to rehash all of that. Okay, we got Mr. DJ Muse is in the house saying the must have never been to the Southern Carolina. Racism is in full effect down here. Rebellion, flags, and all. Oh, I believe you, brother. I believe you on that one. Shoot. You get no disagreement from Info Man. We got my man Cap PY2 is in the house. Exactly, KJ. We got brother Earl Owens, who's been rocking with me for some time. Bonnie Rose is here. Cap PY2. Let me see who else. Oh, we got Ohid Deuce 2020 is in the house here. So that's the way I see. I think that there's some black people who got upset about that particular case because they wanted to see how would a white boy be treated versus if it was I think that it was a compare and contrast. That's kind of what I did on that video that I did about Kyle Rittenhouse. I wanted to do a compare and contrast. So it is what it is. Now the question is, does that mean when there's other protests that they just open the door with that verdict for everybody to walk around with their guns? And will black people who show up to protest, with guns, let's say 16-year-old black kids, 17-year-old black kids, will they get the same justice? That's a thought to ponder. We got Courtney SSLP, Sonia C, who's been rocking with me for a long time. We got Express KIYA is here. Thank you. And Michael Ross is here. And I'm going to stop it right there. We got CNTV. Thank you for being here too, brother, as well. Clap for you. Clap for everybody. We got the A Lady 747. Thank you for being here as well. We got Fashion for Life is in the house. Give her a clap. Thank you. She's been rocking with the channel for a long time and giving a lot of support. We've got Moscow Mitch, C Cow Kill. Okay. Boy, these trolls and stuff like that are something else in YouTube, man. I tell you, they come around. And Aisha's in the house. All right. Let me stop it right there. And Jay Dunn, I'm so glad to have you here. It's a clap for you specifically. And back to the basics. Jay Dunn, how you doing? What are your thoughts about anything that you've heard said? Anything, however you feel about the verdict today or all the bullshit that goes on? What are your thoughts, Jay Dunn?
Okay. Hey, Information Man Show. Hey, back to
Hey, how you doing?
Up in the chat.
Hey.
Y'all, I didn't even know the verdict happened until I saw Information Man Show's notification. And I was already an hour late because I was working today. And when I saw the notification and I saw that the title of this was the verdict, y'all, I got scared. My heart dropped.
Okay, boy.
Because I live in Georgia. I'm here in Atlanta. And so I couldn't even look to see what you came on here to talk about because I know you typically don't come here at this particular time.
Nah, I'm a working man, so during the week I don't be here. But the thing is, this was a trip today because there was when I first went live, there was a whole bunch of people that came over. I mean, I had a lot of people who came over just to get their little taste. And I understand that because people working or they with their family. But I was happy to see people come over and I was able, and the way it worked, I've been up since this morning and I'm off this whole week.
Oh, that's
and
good.
I was just here in my little studio here and I was just waiting. You know what I'm saying? I was just waiting. I knew it was coming and then bam, I had everything set up and ready to go. So I was like, bam, probably one of the first streams that go live from an independent YouTuber other than news to go live with this. So it was a great crowd that came over. And what made it even good is that we did get a very good verdict today.
Yes, I agree with that. But my thing is, what made you think that the verdict was going to happen today? Because when I got up this morning, I looked at it and I saw that because typically at 9:00, I'll put it on 11 Alive to see what's going on. And I saw that the verdict was in the works, but I just assumed that it was going to take them a couple of days.
The reason why I was able to catch it because I had everything pre-prepared. So if they wouldn't have had this verdict today, I just would have had to save everything for another day. So I had everything pre-prepared. I had everything pre-prepared for my stream. So the minute they were getting ready to go live, all I had to do was hit the button and get it popped up on my page. All the other stuff I had to do, I had it ready to go. But what helped me out is that I've got y'all should check it out. I actually subscribed, and I only pay a small fee for this. I subscribed to YouTube TV, so I can watch all my sports and everything out on YouTube TV. And I was able to get the live feeds, not the YouTube feeds, but the actual feed that you would get off of a regular television, cable system. I was able to catch it and monitor everything. And they had said that they were coming back with a verdict. I watched yesterday. They had closing thoughts yesterday. So I knew that there was going to be a possibility that they would come back with the verdict. And it just so happened because I was watching my live feed that it was ready to go. So I had everything set up and bam, my timing was just very perfect. I was lucky this time. That's basically it.
Okay. Yeah, because when I looked at them this morning, I think the jury was trying to hear the 911 call and then they requested 2 other videos or something like that. And the judge came on and was like, we're going to get these videos and this 911 call to the jury. and then we'll deliberate. But what I can say is I'm happy that they got it right, because I'm telling you, Information Man Show, I was so worried that if they did not get this right, it was going to be some hell to pay here, because I done seen it time and time again. I
said that in my stream. I think Back to the Basics can attest to this. I said that in my stream that I did the other night, because the other night ago I went live impromptu, right? Because I did not like the statement about how they were talking about the man's feet and all of that, which had nothing to do with, it was crazy as hell. And in there, they said that I went live with that. That was a surprise to people. And then what happened is I've been up since maybe 5 this morning, and I got alerts on my phone about what you just said about them wanting more information. So I just stayed I just kept like a busy bee right in my little spot here, kept my eyes on the feed. As soon as I saw them coming into court and they were preparing, I said, it's time to go live. It's time to get this thing cracking, because that was my goal the whole time, was to see if I could actually pop this live. Let me say peace to Michael Ross.
Thank you for the
super chat. Let me say peace to Cap PY2. We got Patty D is in the house. Thank you for being here. And we got Ace again, who's here. I see Ace has been rocking with me pretty heavy today. Old Deuce 22. Let me see what Old Deuce is saying right here. Old Deuce says, I don't understand why Jesse Jackson and Al Sharp went outside after nobody defended. No defense attorney complained. Brother Deuce, I don't know. All I know is the defense attorney should have never said what he said, because the courtroom is a public place, and it doesn't matter how many preachers were in there. They had every right to console the family of Ahmaud Arbery. Nobody complained about the Boogaloo Boys and the Proud Boys who were supporting Kyle Rittenhouse and all the other right-wing media personalities that were supporting that kid and the money that he got from those groups. Nobody complained about that. But preachers come into a courtroom to console a family, and as all hell break loose. Come on now, we gotta laugh at that one. It's crazy. Brenda Johnson has just super chatted me. Thank you for that, sister. And she's from over in the UK. Thank you, sister. And we got Blue Jeans in the house. What's going on, brother? Blue Jeans, appreciate you coming over. I see you here. He said this is a so sad. Yes, it is, Blue Jeans. Yes, it is. And check out Blue Jeans channel too. Jay Dunn, I want you to continue with what you're saying. I know you're from Georgia.
Yeah, well, I currently live here. I'm not originally from here, but I've lived here for over 5 years, so I've seen a lot. Even when they burnt down the Wendy's, I was right here when they burnt down the Wendy's. It was on like
wow.
It was like 10 minutes away from me when they did that about Rashad Brooks. So that's why I was really hoping and praying that they got this verdict right, because I felt like it was going to mess up some stuff.
Let me just say this. And Old Head, good to see you over here, Old Head. Come over more often, brother. Let me ask you this question. Not to put all your business out there. You said you've been living in Georgia for 5 years and you came from another place. I don't know if you feel comfortable. I want you to compare and contrast. What has been your experience living where you were living before? Now, I know you in Atlanta, and Atlanta is more of a transient type of place where people have migrated from other parts of the country and they bring their culture and their values into but when you've gone out, have you gone outside of Atlanta into the backwoods of Georgia and those other places? What is the feeling that you get when you leave the bustling city in comparison to where you used to live? Do you feel a little bit of the racism a little bit more blatant in those outer areas in Georgia than where you were living before? Let us know.
Absolutely. And I don't mind. You know where I come from, that area over there. They done told where I live, where I'm from, what college I went to, all of it. So I ain't worried about it. But I'm originally born and raised in Mississippi. I lived in New Orleans for 4.5 years going to grad school. And after I finished grad school, I moved here to Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And now that I've been here in Atlanta, I typically drive back home to see my family, which is like 6.5, 7-hour drive. And I kid you not, Information Man Show. Sometimes you don't want to run out of gas, especially if you driving early in the morning or at night, and have to stop at a gas station in some of these rural parks. And it just be like towns that you don't even know of. Nobody's even heard of them. But, you know, a lot of the times you have to stop and fill up. And me and one of my friends, we went and stopped and filled up. And we actually did feel uncomfortable because it was weird. The gas station was closed. But, you know, even if the gas station is closed, you could still go and pay at the pump with your card and get your gas. But it was another truck out there that was just looking at me and my friend at the gas station one time. And I had my pistol now. I keep a pistol up in my car now. I learned. And so I had my pistol up in the car. And
You said you got that pistol jumping off?
Right, because don't nobody know what they're going to do. We don't know what they're going to do. But I will tell you, I felt so uneasy by that situation with just trying to pump gas at like maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. It felt uneasy.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm in California, the great liberal state, right? I've been in some places in California that make me say, I want to get the hell out of here. I don't feel comfortable. Okay, so, you know, that's what I'm saying. When you leave these cities, and some of the cities got people that's foul too, but when you leave these cities, boy, woo, it's a different world in some of these states. Let me say peace and love to Brother Keith, who gave me the super chat.
For the super chat.
I want to hit that again for the super chat, brother.
Thank you for the super chat.
He says, great session, Big Brother Information Man Show. You definitely broke the report for me. Thank you. Hey, thank you as well, brother, for coming over. And everybody that super chatted me, I really appreciate that. Let me, there was somebody else that I wanted to recognize here. And wow. Let me see. Oh, One Man Band. Everybody make sure that y'all check out One Man Band's channel. The brother's trying to build his channel up over there. He has great commentary. It's a place where you can speak your mind. He don't have a bunch of drama going on his channel. So check him out. Matter of fact, y'all all, like I've been saying before, you should all take your pencils out and your paper and jot people's names down, because there are content creators in this chat room who are doing great things with their channel that they may need your support. Everybody does the best they can because we're all subscribed to tons of people. So I know it takes time for people to get a little taste of people's channels, but check them out. Once again, share this video in your social media, share in your content page, because this was a very important stream today. We feel good. We won. We didn't win the war yet. We won this battle, ladies and gentlemen. We have not won the war, but we've won this battle today. And it does not mean that the legal system is this thing that's working all the time. But in this situation, it did work. And I can't wait to see when those idiots have to go before court for their sentencing. And they're going to have to now be in court. They're going to have to be in jail. And they're going to have to wear those jumpsuits. They're going to have to eat bad jail food. And they're going to have to, go ahead, Jay Dunn.
No, I just wanted to have a quick request from you.
Yes.
Because I'm going to drop off. But I wanted to request this. Can you get back in touch with the lady, Empowered Attorney, Esquire?
Yes,
and
I can.
Get her thoughts on this, because I think y'all will have a powerful show now that we know the verdict, and for her to be able to analyze some of the stuff that we saw.
All right, this is what I'm gonna do. You took the words right out of my mouth, out of my mind. I got her on dial, so I'll be in contact with her when I end this stream. I'll be in contact with her and try to set up a stream for me and her to do. And hopefully it'll be it'll happen this week. I know she was traveling when I had her on last time, so hopefully things are slowed down for her. I'm gonna contact her today, and maybe this upcoming weekend we can break it down. Well, she'll break it down and give that proper analysis. Let me do something real quick. And let me give you a clap, Jay Dunn, for coming upstairs. This might be the first time you've actually come upstairs with me. Thank you for coming up. I see my man George Macomb is in the house. Thank you for coming up. Back to the basics. You can stay right on before I get ready to end, because I'm going to take over center stage real quick, because I want to do a commercial for brother George Macomb right now. George Macomb. And where is it at? Where is it at? Where is it at? Where is it at? Let me put this right up here, right next to me. As you can see, the logo, folks, on the side of me, that logo is Urban Nerds Worldwide. George Macomb is in the chat room, that brother. George Macomb has an organization in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The goal of his organization is to inspire the youth, to introduce them to STEM, science, get them out of their environment into other environments so they can see other things in the world. His whole goal is to get us away from this Negro concept, this nigger concept, to more of a mindset of intelligence. He's working with black young youth, black young ladies that are youth. I have seen this brother on his channel have brothers that have been in and out of youth detention centers or have been in juvenile or prison, where he is counseling them. He is trying to give them the tools that's necessary, the values and principles, what it is to be a man. You see, George Macomb not only talks about it, but he is about it. He has a nonprofit organization. You can go to Urban Nerds Worldwide, the website. You can donate to his organization. It is a nonprofit, so you will get a tax write-off on your donation. Unlike people who spend money and spend up black people's money and donations on the dream and the ripoff and scam that they're building you a school and stuff like that, which is really a damn shame. People who say, hit the Cash App, and they got abandoned buildings. Keep pushing up the date. This is a man who's not doing that, because you can actually see what he is actually doing. He'll show it to you on his channel. He shows you what he's doing on the ground, video. He's also a married man, a family man, a grandfather. A man who has made certain improvements in his life from the life he once lived. A man who deserves your support, and as well as financial support for the organization. See, on YouTube, we'll get on panels and people will talk this and talk that. And then when you say, hey, would you like to get involved in the organization? Once you do the work, it gets as quiet as a rat pissing on cotton when you ask the direct question of some of these cats. Here you have a man who is actually doing something in his community with the organization, the Urban Nerds Worldwide. And matter of fact, I should have put that shirt on today. You can buy merch with that beautiful logo on it in different colors and different styles, shirts, hoodies, t-shirts, you name it, he's got it. Oops, not one, but truth.
Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
So check out the Urban Nerds Worldwide, and George Macomb is in the chat room. He's got a channel, so check him out. George Macomb Experience. He's got a couple of channels, and I just got a lot of respect for that brother. So with that thundering, thank you, brother George Macomb, for coming over to the channel today. I had to say that in this beautiful occasion that these buffoons right here are going to pay the price for what they did to Ahmaud. And I do mean for what they did to Ahmaud Arbery. Arbery. Say that name correct with respect. So thank you, brother. I got to give you a clap. Appreciate you coming over and joining us today, brother George Makem. If you're still in the chat room, drop any links that you want, George. Check them out. Drop the link to the website, what have you. And I have not forgotten, brother, I still need to do that promo video on my channel to upload or go live with about your organization. Matter of fact, if I drop the promo, maybe I should just have you up as a guest to talk about these things yourself. So let me go over to Back to the Basics as I get ready to conclude the video today. Back to the Basics. Anything else that you want to add as I gave the not shameless plug, but a great plug to a great man in George Makem?
Yes, I just want to say it's always it's always nice to be here on the platform, and I always want to thank you for allowing me to speak on your platform. For all those
Thank you.
Participants on the panel and in the chat, it was perfect timing because I mean, usually at this time I'm at work, so I was just getting off, and then as soon as I seen you were live, I was glad that I tuned in. There's not really much. There's not really much that I can really add. It's just that it's just like you said, we did win one battle of one of many, and I'm thankful for that. So much was said on the panel. I just enjoy listening and learning. That's why sometimes I just stay up here. But I am thankful for the verdict. It's just that, hey, now that we got that, let's get on with the sentencing.
Right.
I mean, that's what I'm ready for. Let's get on to this sentence.
Right.
So
Let me just say this real quick, not to cut you off, but George, I got the email right now. I'll be checking that flyer out, brother. Let me thank D. Sean for sending me the Cash App. Thank you. I got to start looking at this better. I be missing people that send me Cash Apps and then I don't get a chance to call them out. I got the email, good brother. I'll be checking it out. Matter of fact, let me open it up right now. He's got the new flyer. Oh, okay, good. I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this as a thumbnail picture on when I go live to put up when I talk about the organization that you have, brother. This is real nice. Urban Nerds Worldwide, African Americans at the African American Smithsonian Museum, Saturday, December 11th. This is what he's doing, folks. December 11th, 12:30 p.m., 1400 Constitution Avenue. If you live Constitution Avenue in Washington, D.C., 2004. Wait a minute. This is fantastic. So he's bringing the youth. They're going to Washington, D.C. If I'm correct about that, George, you are bringing them to Washington, D.C. They're going to the African Smithsonian Museum. And I've been there. Back to the basics. Have you ever been to the Smithsonian? You know, the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C. is not just one big place. It's many different pieces, many different parts of the museum that makes up the museum. I've been there before.
No, I have not. I think that's wonderful.
Right. So there's different buildings that hold different exhibits that make up what we call the Smithsonian, if I'm correct about that. At least that's how it was when I was back there a long time ago. Things could have changed, of course. Back to the basics. Anything else you want to add? And George, you more than welcome, brother, if you want to come upstairs and give further detail. I do have a link. You can click the link at the top. It's pinned up at the top of the chat. You can come up and give further information about the organization and what have you before I end this stream, George, if you have time. If you don't, it's okay. We can always do a show together and you can come back at another time and we can focus on that. But back to the basics. Anything else you want to add, sister?
Yes, this will be my closing remarks. I'm so thankful for your platform. And that you were able to catch the live feed. And I'm thankful for all those like yourself and George Makem out there who are making the difference.
He's coming up
in
right
our
now.
community.
There he
Oh,
is.
there he is.
Oh,
But that'll be my closing. But much respect to you, Bishop.
thank you.
Right.
Yeah, we have we're taking 35 kids December 11th from Philly down to DC to the Smithsonian African American Smithsonian Museum. 2 months ago, I took 40 kids to the Black Wax Museum in Baltimore. So now we're doing the because we can't do the college tours right this second because of the COVID. So we've been hitting the museum. So we can take a 2.5 hour bus excursion ride down to DC. We're going to do the Smithsonian Museum, and the whole purpose is, Info Man. 2 years ago, I was running a series of history of African American inventors. So now
that's true.
I'm taking the kids to the place to show them the kids what they invented, what the people, and show the kids that the people look like them. Like, I did a series in my house. I'm gonna put up probably next week, where I had a group of kids, and I told them that a black man invented ice cream. And he looked at me like I was crazy, like, yeah, right. And I had to show it to him. So our kids, they fed a study diet of the real nigga stuff, but they don't know like the greatness that we come from. Like, they only know this drill and this stuff they put on TV. And I'm like, yo, it was a black woman that created the first home alarm system. It was a black man that created the everything. I mean, the gas mask, we can just go on and on and on and on. I'm telling these kids this, and then I'm pulling out my books and I'm reading it to them. So now it's just time to put it into action and take them to the places. And we don't get, I don't go and get like the corporate money. I get the help from the people. From
that's right.
So, you guys, y'all can go to my website, Urban Nerds Worldwide, the website. You can also go to my channel, because we also go into the prisons and speak. You go into my experience channel. I'm in the juvenile justice centers. I'm talking to these youth. But like I said, we do need help. I'm not going to say we don't need help, but I've been doing a lot of stuff on my own dime. But we definitely need the help of the public, because the dream is to start it in Philly, and hopefully it can go across the country. So that's the dream. But you guys can go to Urban Nerds Worldwide website, and you can donate through there, through PayPal or Venmo. And we also I'll put the Cash App link inside the chat room, but I don't remember that one by heart. But every donation goes directly to our website. It goes it goes directly to our foundation. We're a nonprofit 501c3, man. So I'm doing everything the right way.
That's right.
That's
right, George. I appreciate you coming upstairs and speaking for the organization for yourself. And I appreciate everything that you do and that you are going to do, and you are going to continue to do, brother. And I want to thank everybody in the chat room. You need to check out this brother's organization, and you need to go check out his channel, because he gives pearls of wisdom and he lives the life. He talks about things that he's living. That's the difference. He's living it in action. He's more action than he is words.
That's the way we're supposed to do it. We older, Info Man. So my job is to try to be the example, man. Try to live by what you say, be example. This YouTube spaces, anybody can just go live and talk, and in our community, because a lot of us grew up in the church, we just used to a good speaker with no action. Like, we got to start living. We got to present. That's why on my channel I would show my wife and my kids and my grandkids. The reason why I do that, because I'm not comfortable all the time doing that. But the reason why I do that, because how many young black girls and boys get a chance to see a happy married couple, actually visually see it? No, it's not something that we see. It's not something that's normal. Just have a single mom or not dad around. We've normalized that type of dysfunctional stuff. So what I try to do is give the opposite of what's being presented to us. Just to let us know in our mind that we still capable of doing this. You can still get with a woman and you get her pregnant, stay with her. You get with this man and you have his baby, stay with him. Like, we don't have to be single parents and just keep the cycle going. So I try to show my wife and I show off my wife. I love my wife. I'm a black man. I'm happy with my black woman. I'm happy with my children and grandchildren. And I want to let us know that it's okay. Like, we can actually be happy. We don't have to, everything don't have to be doom and gloom. I mean, your upbringing might not have been as good, but that don't mean that the rest of your life has to be unhappy. So
Facts.
we in these social media spaces, we have the ability today to control our own image. So what I try to do is give a positive message and keep my word. 2-3 years ago, I said I was going to create Urban Nerds, and I created it. We're moving.
Yes.
So
that's right.
That's for me, that's just where I'm at with it. But it's just to inspire other black men and other black women and let them know that everything ain't got to be gossip. It ain't got to be a gender war. You can actually be happy with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and maybe y'all can make it work. Like, it ain't always it's not a tug of war. You know,
Right.
man, 17 years, I'm from the street. I've been in jail for anything you can think of. I mean, other than hurting kids, but I've been locked up for everything. If a brother like me can be married for 17 years, I'm not
That's
trying
right.
to. It's no excuse, because my statistics coming from where I come from, I wasn't supposed to make it, and I did. So I ain't trying to hear the excuses.
George, before I end, though, brother, I have to ask you this question. The work that you're doing in Philadelphia, because you got a lot of Negroes on YouTube, people like that, they're going to say, oh, you can't make a difference. Do you feel that you're having some impact on the youth that you come across, that you engage with? You think do you believe, not believe, but are you making impact?
Yes. One thing, if you go watch if you go to my Urban Nerds channel and you check out, we took the kids last year to the New Jersey Aquarium. And you should have seen the kids when I first got them on a bus. Man, they was listening to all the rap music. They was cussing and carrying on. And I remember my brother was like, man, I'm going to say something to him. I said, no, don't say nothing to them. Just let them let them wild out. Let them just do what they do. So when we got them to the aquarium, and they had the big pool with a bunch of stingrays, but they didn't have like the stinger on them. A bunch of rays in there. You can reach your hand in there and touch them. So when the little boys got there and they could touch them, these boys went from cussing and being unruly back to just being children again.
Right.
And what I noticed was, when you get them in a space where they're comfortable around you, all that drill and all that loud and ratchet stuff go away. Kids, 90% of these kids just want to be kids. But in our communities, us adults, we don't provide the environment for them to be kids. It's on us. So the whole thing is providing an environment for these kids to be kids. And the second thing that I'm doing is, remember when I was doing the history of African American inventors? You know what I'm working on now behind the scenes? I got the green screen up. Instead of me doing the info, man, I got the kids doing it now.
Oh, wow. So you really, wow. I can't wait to see that. That's going to be fantastic. I want to see that. I don't think I've seen that yet.
In the green screen. And the whole thing is to put the kids to work. Don't just let them see you do the work. Put them to work. Let them be the embodiment of what it is that you're trying to bring, and it's change to come. But we just got to get, as adults, we got to stop being so lazy or putting everything before the kids. We got to do the work.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. That's right. We got one man band who's come back upstairs with me, brother. What's going on, brother? You anything you want to add?
Yeah, I wanted to ask George, how do I become, a member of that right there, man? See, I like that type of movement, man. The movement that you got going on, Information, man. His movement as well as other people's movements, man. See, I like to be a part of, stuff like that, man. So I was just wanted to, I wanted to ask him, how do I join something like that, man?
Yeah, you can go to the website and sign up and leave your email address. I'll get back to you, because what we're going to do now is we start operating from the Urban Nerds channel, like I was saying, with the kids and a bunch of different things. So I'm looking for like black people with skill sets, because instead of doing live streams, I'm gonna start doing like presentations on the channel, like education presentations and stuff on the channel for the children. And we're going to also have children in other cities with the permission from their parents participating in the channel, because it's Urban Nerds. We want to find kids with skill sets that they can display on the channel. So, and the whole thing is using the social media space to grow the whole movement. So we in Philly today, we might be in Baltimore tomorrow. Brothers like you that might want to be a part. What city are you in?
I'm in Kansas City, Missouri.
You in Kansas? Oh Lord, Kansas City needed all the violence they got going over there, man. Oh, Kansas City is another rough spot. Kansas City, Missouri, and St. Louis. But depending on the connections, we might be able to get a chapter there. But that's the whole thing: is creating getting the curriculum started, and uniting with other Black people in other cities and begin to build it. Because there's nothing stopping us from doing the things that we want to do. Ain't nobody stopping us. The white man ain't stopping us from doing nothing. We can do all of in 2021 with the work of our grandparents and great grandparents. We can do anything we want to do today.
Exactly.
Right.
I don't know if you got. I don't know if you got Instagram, but if you do, my Instagram is One Man Band TV57. You can look me up, man, so I can stay in contact with you.
Yeah, just what you do, go to my website and leave your email address. So that way I can rotate, I can email, maybe we can talk on the phone behind
One Man Band. George will be in contact with you, man. He won't, believe me, he not one of these people that just like, talk it and he ain't about it. Just send him that, go to his website. And of course, any way I can help in assisting you to connect with him as well, I'll do the same thing too. A One Man Band as well, because I got you on the Instagram as well. So we can definitely make it happen. But check out his first thing. He's telling you the right thing. Check out the website so you can get an understanding of the mission, the goals, and the objectives, and what they're all about, and go from there. And then whatever any way I can assist.
Yeah,
through social media, I'll do that too, brother.
Yeah, I just put my email address. And One Man Band, my email.
Is it in the private? Is it in the private?
No, I just put it in the chat.
Oh, okay. There you go then.
Yeah, I just put it in the chat.
Down and get it, man. Once again, salute to your Information Man show. Great show.
Oh, thank you, brother.
Salute to you and your cause, and salute to everybody in the chat. And one more thing, happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
All right, brother. Happy. Same to you, brother, and your family. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah, I'll come up info. I got your phone number. I'll call you. When I'll do info, I'll call you because we running a fundraiser for the trip for December 11th. So I'll work out something. I'll come up and we can we can actually build on this. I got to get an intent to my dad real quick. But
okay, man. George, do what you got to do. You got a lot of family and everything out there, and you know how to get in contact with me, brother. Anything I can do to help, man, just reach out to me.
Thank you so much, bro. Thank you so much for
I appreciate you too, man. Clap to you, brother. Much respect to you.
I'll say this. Everybody, I want every brother in the chat room, when you get off this live, just get the good book, 1 John 4:20. 1 John 4:20. That's the word for the day. It's the scripture. If you love your brother, if you can't love your brother who you see every day, there's no way you can love God. This is what we teach Black boys. 1 John 4:20. You ain't got to be a Christian. Just read the scripture. It's teaching you how to love your brother. When we start loving our brother, man, you'd be surprised what we can do, Info, man. So, and what you just did was love on your brother, man. And I love you for that. Thank you for that. We got.
Oh, thank you, brother.
See that.
As always. All right, brother. All right, thank you too, brother. All right, everybody. There it is. That was George Macomb. Came over, gave a little bit of love, blessed the channel. And I want to thank him again. I want to thank One Man Band. Y'all check out his channel. Check out George Macomb. Check out the website. Like he said, they got, man, he's doing it. The bottom line is he's doing the things that we talk about that we need to do to make a difference. Now, of course, he's doing what he's doing in his community, but he's saying he wants to expand the Urban Nerds worldwide organization, the process, the mission, everything about it in other cities. And these are the things that I talk about as well, that we have to be accountable for what we want to change by getting involved in our community. Now, some of us may not be able to create an organization like George for whatever the reasons are, based on what's happening in your life. But you can support an organization that exists like Urban Nerds Worldwide. You can support it by giving donations, or maybe you want to physically assist in these kind of organizations, right? It's all up to what you want to do. And George was right. The Mayonnaise Man is not stopping us. I think in a lot of times we focus too much on that. And in a lot of times we're actually holding ourselves back. And that's the truth.
Tell the truth.
So I want to thank him for coming upstairs and being a part of the conclusion of the program for today. And once again, just a reminder, Ahmaud Arbery, his family, his mother, father, they got justice today. Clap to them. And that's really what it's all about. I want to shout out to everybody who came over. We had a lot of people over here when I went live earlier today. And I appreciate that. I want to thank Back to the Basics. I want to thank everybody that came upstairs. We got Old Head rocking with us. George Macon came over. Earl Owens. I know some people had to go back to their prospective families and jobs and what have you. All of you that have been rocking with me, I appreciate that so very much. And I gotta say that although we're waiting for the sentencing of this, I am very happy that in this case justice was served, and it was served very well. So everybody, enjoy your holidays, enjoy your family. I'm not big into the holidays personally, but it is important to be with your family and loved ones. So enjoy your family and your loved ones. Enjoy whatever you do, your football games, your laughter, your cards, your dominoes, your music, whatever. And I would say to everybody out there, because of this verdict, hey, man, have a drink, Kool-Aid, wine, whatever you're into. Have a good meal. Do a dance in the house or wherever you are. Enjoy the fact that justice was served for this young man and his family the way it should have been. And I'm going to say it again. I'm going to clap to that one more time.
Tell the truth.
And with that said, I'll be back with more presentation. Now, I probably won't go live tomorrow unless something breaking happens. But I do have a video related to Thanksgiving, which I produced a couple of years ago. So it's an older video. And the video does talk about why black people should not technically celebrate Thanksgiving based on the history. And it's a history that's going to open your eyes. It's a short little video. It's a video that I've already produced. I'm going to drop it in the community tab. So be on the lookout for that video in the community tab and in my Twitter page and all that good stuff. And by the way, while I'm at it, let me drop something else for you. Let me see if I can find this real quick. Oh, I've got it. Let me do this. You can find all of my social media links, some of them, but a good number of them right here. I'm going to drop this link in the chat room right now. It's a link tree. If you click into that link tree, you're going to find I got a collection of social medias that I'm on, my Facebook, Twitter, everything. And there's some things I didn't put everything on there, but I'm going to expand it further. You click into that, you'll be able to find me all over the damn place on there, even my podcasts and things of that nature. So be on the lookout for a radio podcast. I do have a podcasting platform as well. I'm not talking about there's the YouTube version. So you can check out my YouTube version of my podcast, The Information Man Speaks Podcast. But then I have my radio style version, which you'll find on iHeartRadio Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spreaker, Stitch, TuneIn, the whole 9 yard. And that material is different from the material that I do on the YouTube version of my podcast and even this YouTube channel. Okay. Make sure you subscribe and send this into your social media, folks, all your community tabs. If you're a content creator, all there, put it all there, because I definitely would appreciate that. And let me put this on the screen right there. As you can see, coming right up. Thank you for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and like and comment when you have a chance, because I would definitely appreciate that. And definitely subscribe again. So have a good one. Have a great one. And I'm going to get ready to get on out of here. This has been great, everybody. Got great news today. Peace.
Tell the truth.
Lately it's looking like everything perfect.
Take care. Peace, everybody.
You can find me where that turf is. Pin precision like a surgeon. Bad ones used to curb me. Showing up to the show when the curve split. She know that I'm worth it. I'm finna go up, I'm aerial. I got the hit stash, got a bracelet for impact. Real tricky, quick to flip a pretty penny to a thick stack. Quick stack, think fast and I talk real. I give a fuck about how they feel. Me and Zay just dropped the propane, and it sounded like massive pill. For my dog, I'ma ride till the wheels kill. Got his hand on the hammer, so keep it legit. I've been the man with the blueprint. I won't stop till I own every brick. I used to lay out in the line just to feel the world spin on its axis. Now I got the access, and the last laugh got it off with the passion. I keep it 100 on the dash now that we got our subtraction. Slick talker, I'm a showstopper, you are not solid. Tread cautious, couldn't go a mile in my toe boxes. Stun the shade with the Visine, light it up to bring the vibe in. Lime tint, color spot beam on me, I'm a star every night lit, ultraviolet. Hey, I told her make sure that phone is on silent so we know what the vibe is. Take a look in my iris, I think she know that I'm high risk. I never know what the time is, I never know when my mind went. Hey, I got a lot on my plate, I got an eye on the prize, and I'ma make sure that we straight. Yeah. Look, it's a lot on my mind, and I got an eye on the prize, and I'ma make sure that we straight. I'ma make sure that, hey, I got a lot on my plate, I got an eye on the prize, and I'ma make sure that we straight. Yeah. Look, it's a lot on my mind, and I got an eye on the prize, and I'ma make sure that we straight. I'ma make sure that I used to toss a coin in the waterfalls, in the wishing well. Now I get plenty coin, bitch, I'm self-made. You ain't gotta wish me well. You ain't like me then, but I guess it's past tense, cause you tapped in. You was never who you said. I see the facade when looking, they really be that quick to tell. My guard up, I ain't taking nails. If it's not in my favor, won't sign a deal. I got the royalty in the mail, I got authority in the field. Take a look in my iris, I be precise with the timing. I move on the touch, that shit high risk. I never know where my mind went. Ayy, I got a lot on my plate, I got an eye on the prize, and I'ma make sure that we straight. Yeah. Like it's a lot on my mind, and I got an eye on the prize, and I'ma make sure that we straight. I'ma make sure that, ayy, I got a lot on my plate, I got an eye on the prize, and I'ma make sure that we straight. Yeah. Like it's a lot on my mind, and I got an eye on the prize, and I'ma make sure that we straight. I'ma make sure.
Tell the truth.
I need to tell you, I was bad. Unless you talking numbers, we ain't speaking about the right things. Switch up on my nigga for a figure, that's not like me. Baddie with a body in the lobby, she like nice things. She used to know me then, she like me now, that's funny timing. Eyes been on that prize, I cop that crib for that timepiece. I'm trying to see the globe and sell out shows until the flight leave. They wanna ride my ties, but they ain't even ride or die, please. But I've been short on time, and in the prime, I'm my prime easy. I said I never changed and leveled up, I guess I lied, yeah. Off that straight up potent just to feel like I'm alive, yeah. Mix that with that potion just to feel like I'm that guy, yeah. So know the one you talking to, you way outside your line, yeah. Go against the tribe, you lose your... Let me not even say this. I just ran out of my patience. I just got tired of waiting and got here myself. Want me but they see for they up and still doubt in themselves. They might as well light up the L. High top on 10 toe, drip retro. Talking major plays, hella high tech through the getro. Pin game, then petrol. Just set it in the flesh hole. Send a text mail to give a wet clothes. On the paper wave to make a drip drip with the left lobe in the left stroke. I'ma make plays, I'ma go long. Never look back so long. Yeah. Flex up. Shawty on 10, finna go up. Bring that to the crib, let me show love.
Make sure to subscribe.
Flex up. I'ma make plays, I'ma go long. Never look back so long. I need to flex up. I need to tell, yeah. Shawty on 10, finna go up. Bring that to the crib, let me show love. Ayy, come from the pit, I'm out of the trench, my nigga, we. Look at the dread, my nigga, we ran shit all on my way.
Tell the truth.
I never let them play me, but they claiming the lines until I'm goated, I'm going off. Loyal to my soil and the culture, I'm that chosen one. I just got her bag, she wanna I think she know I'm star. I can't do no wrong, look in her eyes, she wouldn't know I'm scarred. They try to justify me going up like they don't know he raw. Off of that dough, just what they told you, I'm never sober. Gripping the split for the chip on my shoulder, trying to decode this. They label me thug, I keep it a buck, I don't give a fuck about it. Out of the mud, it's showing me love, my nigga, what's up? Out of my way, bitch, I need a paper. What you want, I mean, I know later. I keep it short with the conversation. Out of my lane, the coupe got a brain in the cockpit with no hands on it. I've been the man with the plan, homie. Flip that to the man with the bands on me and a passport with the stamps on it. Yeah. I'ma make plays, I'ma go long. Never look back so long. Yeah. Shawty on 10 for the go up.
Peace.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Everybody have a good rest of your evening. Relax. Bask in the victory today. The three Stooges. They going to jail, y'all. They going to prison.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Peace.